Do you take any notes when we do these?
Do I take notes? Like,
Do you have notes, or you just bring your brain?
The Rogue one, I had a ton of notes. You'll remember that.
Yeah.
But for the one with John, I knew I didn't need any to whoop his ass anyway.
How's that going so far?
We canceled the Wat Palooa predictions.
Was that so much of a cancel, or was it like I don't know if I would consider it canceling.
We didn't. We're not scoring it because there are just too many variables that were workouts changing. One of the divisions didn't even do one of the workouts, and it was actually super close. We ran the numbers anyway, but
damn, it's nuts that the podcast people are turning down their own personal competition, yet the people at the competition are still first, second, third. Money's been allotted, but you guys are like, no, this doesn't count. It's illegitimate.
Yeah,
it's legit enough for them to claim who won Wat Palooa.
Yeah, and give out some big money.
James won.
Well, James would have won for sure.
Correct.
We both had James winning.
Wasn't it Yonakoski, Austin Hatfield towards the back end that was interesting?
Yeah, even Ty was in second, and then Austin and Yona was very close between third and fourth. There was, I guess, some controversy in the scoring, and they ended up joint third, actually.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard, is sharing third. Didn't Austin turn down that extracurricular competition?
Talking about WFP?
No. Extracurricular competition. The one at night.
Friday night.
Where
Friday
they all
night
went, they did the bench press handstand
walk
workout. Didn't Austin just say, I'm not going, or not answer?
Yeah, they invited him, but he didn't, he didn't go.
He was drinking.
Drinking the Kool-Aid?
I don't know what he was drinking.
It was fun, though. John and I went, and it was fun to watch, but...
you and John are best friends now.
We were that weekend. I haven't talked to him really since.
Oh, that's good. When are you going to talk to him next?
I don't know. I hadn't talked to you since then either.
That's true.
I mean, we sometimes we'll just send a message here or there, but he's got a lot going on. I got a lot going on, so
yeah,
it's nice though. That was a really good. I'm glad that we spent that weekend together.
John and you.
Yeah, it was the most amount of time that I've ever spent with him.
Okay.
So just got to know him more, just as a guy. Just same as athletes or other media personalities. When you actually just hang out with them, it's better.
I think he said as much as having interacted with some of the athletes himself, right? Like he got to know a bunch of them kind of on a different level.
Yeah, that was a big deal actually for me, was to give him the space and the opportunity to do that, and the fact that he took that and ran with it and spent the time with them, because it is different, and you do have to be a little bit careful. Like when you know the athletes outside of competition, obviously you have some connections to them that's not necessarily related to performance. That's why people sometimes accuse me of being biased towards certain athletes, because I'm friends with them. You are biased,
right?
I try not to be, but can any of us actually say that we're not biased by our own experience?
Legitimately impossible.
Yeah. So I'm conscious of the fact that people think I'm biased towards certain athletes and against others,
which would make you biased in the other way on accident, right? Huh.
No. Potentially. So I try to really strip it back to what do I actually know about them as competitors coming into this competition, and what do I think is the most likely outcome?
Towards the back end of the show, we might be showing some of that bias. We're going to go through your picks.
Yeah.
Your mayhem picks.
Yeah, I have my picks here. That's what I brought with me.
And you suggested we were going to do a little bit of a look at the spreadsheet of mayhem workouts. And did you pick workouts?
I did.
I didn't.
Because
I hate thinking of something that won't happen. It's like predicting an open workout. I've always not liked that practice of it. What do you think the open workouts are going to be? Make a video on it. It's going to get 30,000 views and it's not any effort. I go, that's why I don't want to make it. I like trying.
No, so I don't know. They put those out when we were talking about ideas for the show, so I sent it to you as an idea. And because I sent that to you, I then just picked 5 that I thought would fit well. I mean, I put some thought into it, but I have those too if you're curious.
I am curious of yours.
Okay.
I'll feed my introspection into your own picks. On another note, also on Instagram, recently posted, actually it's more of a YouTube post that was clipped and put on Spin's page. Did you see it on Spin's page first, or do you watch the Dave Castro Weekend Reviews?
I don't watch those, but I did see the clip you're talking about that Spin took from there and put on Instagram.
Dave said that he believes he's the best candidate to become the CEO, and he went on to also say that if he was not chosen to be CEO, that he doesn't really know what he would be doing there forward.
But that he's thinking about it.
Yeah, but he is thinking.
But he's not ready to talk about it.
That's not a direct quote, but it's like kind of the gist
pretty
of
close.
it, right?
Between what you said and when I said, it's pretty close.
All right. What's your opinion on that? Would Dave be the best CEO? Is he right?
That depends entirely on who's hiring him for CEO and what they want the forward direction of the company to be. Because of the second part that you didn't let me get.
Sorry. Okay.
It depends what direction you want the company to go. And if you want it to go backwards 10 years, then yeah, he's the best choice.
Wicked. Why would you assume it would go backwards? Isn't that kind of all they've been doing? They brought back Forging Elite Fitness.
I mean, that's kind of said in jest. Maybe that was a little bit mean to say it that directly. But it's the same perspective I've always had. And I mean, maybe you'll ask me about the online portion of the season so far, but the same regime has been there.
That's coming. That's next.
Yeah. And I have been vocal about, sometimes in critical ways, sometimes in ways that I'm hopeful would be constructive, the fact that I don't think that Dave has done a good job, at least with the game side of things. I often qualify that I don't really have much exposure to the training side where he might be doing this. I'm not sure. But obviously I've invested a lot of my own career and passion into the sport and the community that's derived from the sport. I don't think he's kept up well with the way that the global competitive fitness scene has evolved, and I think that it's caused the CrossFit Games over time to lose a lot of momentum that it had, and therefore the place in the, it still is the best event that you could win out there from a prestige standpoint for a variety of different reasons.
Prestige worldwide.
But it might not always be that way, and it's, I think that depends. If the company, whoever's hiring the CEO, wants the games to be an important part of it, then they have to make a different decision than if they don't. And there's definitely a chance that someone comes in and sees CrossFit as something that's much more potentially successful with the training and affiliate side and not the sports side, and they might cut that off or sell it off, integrate it with something else, and then the decision about if you want Dave to be the CEO looks different.
Isn't it interesting that they don't have a CEO right now?
Kind of, yeah, that is interesting. But have they really had a CEO the last 2 years?
No, they haven't.
And I personally have spent a lot of time.
It kind of shows how little he did, considering they don't need anything.
I think what it really says is how little he was actually capable of doing. I don't think it was really Don's fault. I think it was just the structure of the way things are, that he was pretty handcuffed there, and that he wasn't able to really do much one way or the other.
You think he had potential to do more and just couldn't do it?
I'm not sure. But I don't think we ever got a fair chance to see that.
Like we had an Arnold Schwarzenegger capable bodybuilder, but they didn't give him any weight, so he's stuck doing push-ups in the corner.
Sure. Or it's like Joe Biden. Is anyone really going to say like, oh, Joe Biden was a good or a bad president? Like Joe Biden wasn't doing anything. He was just trying to say what people were telling him to say.
I like how you say trying to say.
Well, I mean,
I saw him trying to talk once. It wasn't the greatest.
I mean, look, like I said, I've spoken with Don. I've spoken with a lot of people who've spoken with him, and it sounds like for a majority of the time he was there, he had to answer to the board of directors, whatever that looks like, and that a lot of the decisions that it may have been his. I mean, certainly there's some things that he did, and some of them
like what? Name one thing. Oh, he kicked out Frank. That's one thing.
Okay, I'm not going to get too far into it if that's okay. But
because you can't think of anything. That's
no,
okay.
I can, but they're not. I don't think that they're necessary to say.
Okay.
So
he cut the budget at the CrossFit Games.
Feel free to criticize me for that in the comments if you want to, but I'm just going to abstain from that one.
I gave you two things.
You gave me two things.
I did. Yeah.
You think that was his choice to cut the budget at the CrossFit
No,
Games?
I don't.
Right. So I have very peripheral knowledge to how that works at CrossFit HQ. I just feel that even if he was a good or a bad CEO, that we didn't.
Hey, for the record,
really
I also don't think it was Dave's idea to cut the budget at the CrossFit Games.
Neither do I. But
Okay.
But it is his decision what to do with the budget that's allotted to him.
I don't know that either. I don't know anything.
Okay. Well.
But this is more or less about him being the CEO, and you have said that he's probably good from the fitness side of it, not the sports side of it.
Well, I mean, one of the things that he said there is that he has as much experience or more experience over the last 2 decades than anyone. And I think
is that not true?
I do think that that's true. But does that independently justify him as the best candidate? Having the most experience.
Like, who would be a better candidate? Clearly, the ones that have been there have not been great candidates.
It seems that way. And I would say that that's the question that people often pose to me. Like if they want to defend Dave, and I'm saying that I don't think he should be in whatever position.
Who's a better candidate?
Yeah, that's always the rhetoric or the retort that comes back at me. And I don't have a great answer for that. And I don't love the fact that I don't. But it's not something that I've spent a ton of time thinking about.
All right, let's play this one out for me real quick. Say you throw Matt Souza into the role. I know that's a curveball.
It's not that much of a curveball.
That's crazy. Let's just say you just threw him in.
Yeah, but Matt Souza represents, I think, a lot of the thought processes that people would like to see in terms of someone who is progressively trying to integrate CrossFit to the global ecosystem. Because that's what I'm looking at the end of the day, is are we still believing that CrossFit is the kernel that can help more than anything else when it comes to chronic disease on a global level? And if we do believe that, then are we making decisions as the leaders of that company or that community that are helping push us into a place where we can get that information into more people's minds, hands, lives? Because that's the only way that the kernel grows, is if it's prevalent in the communities. What I've seen, part of this I think is the board of directors' fault and private equity. Part of it I think has to be on Don Fall, regardless of how much he could do, because he was in that chair. And part of it's definitely on Dave. And maybe there's some others, but those are the three big players, I would say, that have not done a good job of getting that message into more people's minds or lives or communities over the last 7 years since Greg was forced out.
Do you know who Banana Dance Man is?
I've heard of the Savannah Bananas.
No, not the baseball team. That's cool though.
I don't know.
There's this jacked dude I follow on Instagram who's on that team. Anyway. You don't know Banana Dance Man?
I do not.
I feel like I first saw him on Reddit. It had to have been 2-3 years ago. But he's recently made his way into the comment sections on various YouTube channels.
Including yours?
Yeah, he's been on mine. And he has this thread he just pulls on, and it's the Reebok money. And you brought up how Dave, Don, and whomever has been up top hasn't had a good job at like pushing the seed to people's brains. And I'm wondering how potent the Reebok money was to planting seeds in people's brains. If not like the most incredible, like it's just the water. It's like,
I mean, definitely if you have more money available, then it increases the landscape with which you can play. But as the variables change, I think that a good leadership or leadership team would be realistic about what's our reality now. Is this still our due north? And what can we do with the current resources to try to execute on that plan? And it can't look the same now that it looked in 2008. And in a lot of ways it does.
Why not?
Why can't it look the same?
Yes.
Because there's a totally different marketplace that we're trying to interact with and compete against. Like CrossFit, this is where that conversation of like, what is CrossFit and what is the CrossFit ecosystem or community? Because there's a ton of variants now. But not all of them are generating revenue for CrossFit HQ.
You mean in the same facet that there's like Proven and Mayhem and HWPO, and they're generating money for them separately? What do you mean?
Sure, those are training methodologies. That's a good example.
Like Watify.
There's also good examples in the competition landscape. So at the training level and at the sport level, the marketplace is much more diversified. People have a lot of different options. They don't have to go to .com. They don't have to participate in the games.
It's more like, why would they go to .com?
Well, exactly.
It's hot dog water programming.
Well, and it worked 20 years ago.
You like hot dog
15
water?
years ago. I mean, does it have fast absorption if I'm dehydrated?
If you drink it, it's salty.
No, I don't want to drink hot dog water.
No one wants to drink hot dog water. Hey, if you gave $10 billion to like one person to run CrossFit, so like now all of a sudden money is no issue. Like who do you think has the best seed planting capabilities?
Man, that's a tough question.
Like, do you think it's Dave?
I think no. The problem is that I know from personal experience that there's communities around the world that are sick of him, and I don't want to lose those communities. I want to give those communities a path back. I just think that he's run his course. I think he's done what he's done for good and for bad. I feel like if CrossFit is going to ever exceed what it was at, he needs to be out of the picture.
So we need someone that looks like Dave but isn't Dave. And when I say looks like, I don't mean physically. I mean is a mouthpiece for.
I do think it's helpful to have a good spokesperson.
A literal new person.
Yeah.
maybe even saying the exact things that he would say anyway.
Well, we have countless examples in history and our own personal histories and global histories that it's not always the message that matters. It's who's delivering it. So yes, I would agree with that.
That's crazy. This is why people can't agree on whether or not he's a good CEO, because he is, but people are insane to not be able to look past the puppet that speaks the words.
I mean, I've experienced this. You know, you've experienced this.
Sure.
There's people that hear your name and they have an immediate reaction to it.
And you know what I say? You don't even watch my videos.
Yeah, and they're like, I don't have to because I know what I need to know about you.
I saw the title. How dare you?
No, I heard something about you, and I've made up my mind about you.
Even worse, they haven't even seen the thumbnail.
No.
I work so hard on those sometimes.
Most of the time.
Sometimes is good, right? So you, in general, let's put on a scale. 100% is like I'm all Dave. 0% is I'm not Dave. How Dave or not Dave are you?
To be the
like
CEO?
50-50 is, to be the CEO.
1.
You're 1. Okay.
That means I don't want him to be CEO,
So I'd be
right?
a better CEO than Dave, or am I a 0?
No, you're better than 1.
What's Souza?
Better than 1.
What's the highest grade of somebody you can think of within the next 10 seconds? That would be a fitting, like 50, 70, 60. And I don't want one of those answers. Well, it's like, it's hard to say. I want like a person and a number.
I know you want that.
I really badly want it. Where would you put you on that first? You can think about the
I don't think it's my skill set.
Okay.
I think I would be much better as a consultant.
So Dave's a 1, you're a 0?
I'm a 1.
You and Dave are equal CEOs. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Where would Will Moorhead be on this
list? I could say he's around 1 also.
Dang. Like nobody can be the CEO. But Zeus is higher than a 1.
No, because it's, I don't know if 0 was an option, but
0 is always an option.
0 is always an option. No, I don't think those people would be great candidates. But I would say like, I don't think Will's on par with even Dave or maybe even myself. I mean, Will's done a lot of different things, but I know that I've put myself, just like you have in certain aspects, into a category where there's not a lot of people that have done what I've done or what he's done or what you've done. But I don't know that any of those independently are good, like correlates or translations to becoming a CEO.
You haven't given me an answer, though.
I'm probably not going to. I don't have a good answer for that, which is why I don't really like talking about it, because I don't love identifying problems without solutions.
How would Froning had been? Because there was a lot of chatter about him for a bit.
I think that there's some potential with Rich because unlike the other names that we've thrown out there, I don't think he's very polarizing. I don't think there's a lot of people that hear Rich Froning and are immediately turned off by it.
Unless they don't like God.
But even so, like, he still has fans that aren't Christian and that don't really care about the tattoo on his rib cage. They just were like, dude, Froning's the man. And he got me into this thing. And I loved watching him. And I still love watching him. Froning also, I think, pretty good at surrounding himself with fairly capable and qualified, intelligent people. And I think that that's a good trait to have if you're going to be a CEO or president of a company, because I am a big fan of, having a sounding board. And you want to have a sounding board that has a good amount of experience and also the ability to tell you something that might not be what you're thinking or what you want to hear. That's what I'm not so sure about Dave. I don't know, even with his closest friends and the people who've been there the whole time, what happens when they disagree with a decision that he is about to make or that he feels strongly about.
I hear that goes pretty well, actually.
And there's some people that you would assume that it would. Adrian Bosman, J Mac, guys that have been there for 20 years. Like, they have to kind of have that ability to. But I think it's a pretty small group. And, you've been in experiences like this also. When you spend time in the same rooms with the same people over a very long period of time, even the challenges that you're throwing out there, like, how challenging are they really? Is there, like, what's
like Max Toast-to-Bar?
Max Toast-to-Bar.
Yeah, that's a challenge I put
That's
out
challenging
today.
Yeah, that's challenging.
That's not what you meant.
I'm curious if anyone beats 62.
People already have.
No, so it's like It's good to have people that you can talk to, but I think sometimes having some new voices in there can make a big difference, even if they're not necessarily telling you what to do, just to offer a different perspective. And that's one of the things that I have been critical of them for.
What do you think about the idea that he essentially strung up the owners, saying, if you don't put someone in there that I like or agree with, then I'm going to go do my own thing? That's how I read it.
Dave said this?
He didn't say that. He said that he doesn't know what.
I've said this.
I'm reading into it a little bit, but it's like, your wife comes home and is like, hey, I'm going to get another husband. What are you going to do? It's like, what do you mean? What am I going to do?
Yeah,
I'm going to leave. I'm getting out of here.
Well, Dave's already been planning for that for years, and in part because he was fired once, so he's had to start thinking about what's the next thing. So he leaned into some of his other hobbies and the notoriety that he had in the space. And you have TDC Mercantile, you have the olive oil, you have the leather making. You also have examples from when he's been rehired, like the Ruck Racing League that he started in the middle of semifinals last year when he was paying no attention to what was being programmed for 50% of the competitive community, which are the age groups. And he was starting.
We're going to talk about the age groups.
I mean, he was starting a totally different thing. So he's planted some seeds, and I have some suspicions about some others that might be in his plans down the line if he chooses not to stay or is forced not to stay.
I knew he was the CEO of Xenom. I knew it.
It feels like he's involved.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about how the Open has turned out? Like what the Open has become? The Open isn't the same as it once was. It's similar to what it's been, but it's the most different.
Are you want to talk about the Open and quarterfinals separately here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, obviously the Open changed significantly for people like us when it was reduced from 5 weeks to 3 weeks. So are you asking me to compare it to the 5-week version or just like what it's been in the last 5 years?
Pretty open-ended. Like, what do you think about what it's become? This year being, of course, like the most recent example. It's in everyone's heads. You pitch this to an audience full of CrossFitters. It's like, hey, what do you guys think of the Open? Yay or nay?
I used to love competing in the Open for 2 reasons. One is just a personal check-in, even though you kind of always have an understanding that leaderboard year to year is mostly meaningless.
Put a pin in that one.
What?
It's important.
What?
It's a check-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't necessarily competing against my previous ranks on the leaderboard. I know what it feels like to do an Oprah workout and to do it well and to do it okay and to really suffer and struggle through it. And in the years that I was at my best, I could do 4 of the 5 workouts well, and usually there was one that was limiting for me for some gymnastics that I'm not great at, which was okay. I don't know. I saw the workouts this year. I felt like it was just a kind of a miss across the board.
Because?
Well, for one, I thought the first I thought the first Open workout was pretty boring. You got 4 of these amazing athletes in this incredible facility, and you're having to do wall balls and box jump overs. And you have 2 movements in this thing.
I haven't heard very many people say that the first workout was boring. So that's interesting. I wouldn't say it was boring, not relative to what we've had in the past for first workouts, right? Exception being Bosman programming the chipper of 14.
Yeah. I just was like, man, they had that beautiful Air Force Base hangar, whatever it was. They had the rig set up there. They never got on. They did wall balls in a rig and stayed in one spot and did box jump overs for 12 minutes, and no one could finish it except for Colton. Well, Jason finished, but basically around the world, no one finished it. I also think about from the affiliate perspective, because the other thing I used to love about the Open was the community. I mean, it was very cool, at least at the gyms that I went to. I know there's tons of gyms that it's still very cool. Get people there, whether it's during the day or in the evening, and they rally around this thing, create these intramurals, Friday nights, whatever. That's cool. But that workout had box jumps, which is the number one thing that injures people and catastrophically in many cases in affiliates, and wall balls. And I know I'm talking to the choir here, but lightweight, high volume squats, it's just hard for the general public to get below parallel on a consistent basis, even when they're coming to classes on a regular basis. You know this from owning an affiliate, from being in tons of them. I've been in 300 now, by the way. Did you know that?
I didn't. Maybe you said something about something recently. Maybe I did know that.
Yeah, you called me out for lying about it.
Uh-huh. I remember that.
And, I mean, look, you just watch and you see people that you could put a little bit more weight on the bar in the front rack. Yeah, they get down below parallel. But if it's a wall ball, a lot of people don't. It just happens. You know what happens. And Dave knows it happens. So I just didn't like it.
Dave, here's the deal, dude. I don't think Dave knows anything.
Dave's been to more than 300 affiliates. He should know. You think he's watching what's going on there, or he's just there for the picture?
No, he knows what's going on. I'm not saying it like that.
Okay, clip the last two things you just said.
Yeah, I'll clip the part out where I said I don't think. I'll just clip the part. I don't think Dave knows anything. I think that I just know that there are people out there who look at it 12 layers deep, and Dave's looking at it maybe 1.5.
People out there,
deep.
or people in here?
Oh, I look at it 13 layers deep.
Okay,
So I'm thinking about. I mean, it's so stuff as simple as a couple years back, and part of the thing that they've done and did well in the Open this year was as simple as the final workout. They made you change your own weights. I'm like, that's such a simple thing that makes it so much more accessible to so many more people. Because all of a sudden you don't need one more person in there. You don't have to like, okay, class, you're going to change this person's weight and then flip-flop, or we're going to set up all these bars. That's 3 layers deep. Just like knowing to not do that stupid thing. But
Sure.
What you're talking about, I think, is like 2 layers deep. The entire idea of like, they should be squatting below parallel, but we're not looking at videos. Everyone knows we're not looking at videos. And then Scott Vandersloot comes from my freaking throat because I'm talking about how no one's squatting below parallel, but Dave's the one who put it there. Did he do it on purpose? I don't think he has any idea what he did.
No, and
That's what I mean.
what I agree with you about that. What I don't know is if he even cares. But what I've noticed over the past few years is that that's not the level of thing that he cares about. At least that's the impression that I get.
What level does
Well,
he care about?
I think he will care
Or at
much
least
more
impression
about.
you've been given, because you don't
I
know
think
for
he'll
sure.
care much more about the programming at the CrossFit Games than he does for
I
the
disagree with that. Next question. No, not next question. We can't get into that.
Okay.
Not with the way that the games went last year. It was.
I'm not saying that it went
It was an
well,
abomination.
But I'm saying I think he cares more about
Well,
it.
that is a slap in the face to the Open. if he cared, if that's what the games was last year, and he cares less about the Open than he did that.
Yeah, but it's in alignment with what he's always cared about, which is finding the fittest person when it comes to the games. That's the thing that he has hung his hat on from the beginning.
That answers a lot of my questions on this write-up I've got for us here.
If you know that the point of the CrossFit Games is to find the singular fittest man and woman on earth, and you understand what that actually means, then you can understand where all these other things that we're going to talk about aren't that significant.
There are very few people on earth that know what that means outside of Dave and Boz. That's usually a frustration of mine that comes to like
What it means to find the fittest person on earth?
Yes.
Or how you define
Via
that?
how they've created tests, how they understand the method, all of it. Like they have to have like this crazy understanding of all of it and put it into play to find the one. The Jet Li movie. Have you seen that? I am the one.
I don't think
And
so.
then he fights everybody on the top of that mountain.
No,
It's a
but
good movie.
insert the clip right now. It'll be good.
I will. And I have all these like questions, and it's like, hey, you did the Open. You said it's your check-in. I'm at this point totally cool with it being a fundraiser for the games. It's a $20 worldwide fundraiser for the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with it. Because you do get a bit of a more push. Like if I told you to go do Fran, that's fine. If your name's on the leaderboard, your Fran is that much harder. Cool. $20. Intensity. Hoorah. But maybe Dave sees it as this is step 1 of the test of fitness. And hey, James Sprague made it. Check. Quarterfinals. James Sprague made it. Check. Semifinals. James Sprague made it. Check. CrossFit Games. James Sprague won. Great year. That's it. And the 13 steps I've been looking at it is irrelevant because he got what he wanted out of the whole thing.
Well, this is a granular example of the bigger picture thing that I'm talking about, is that the landscape of competitive fitness has changed a lot. But I don't think that the way that Dave's approaching it has.
I don't know at all what you mean relative to the statement I made.
Okay. All right. I guess that's fair.
Because I think I don't know if I agree because I don't get it. How would it have had to have changed to have what the Open quarterfinals, semifinals, and games should be? Like, what would he have to take into account?
I had a lot of thoughts really quickly right there. Just what else has happened in the competitive ecosystem in the last, really since they shifted into the sanctional model, there's been an explosion of exposure for competitions on a global scale. This is in part because they incorporated a bunch of those into the season in a way that they hadn't been previously, and because they disbanded their media, which gave this blank slate opportunity for people to start telling stories from all over the world, and they didn't have to go be in competition with CrossFit Games telling stories. So people were now used to watching a ton of content on CrossFit.com or wherever they were putting it, could watch it, or they were now seeking it other places because CrossFit wasn't putting out little to no content really during that time period. Because of that, you have all these different competitions that different athletes have now been exposed to, different coaches, different training camps, competition organizers that are getting more well recognized, and everything is leveling up, in my opinion, because the people, this is where I would say Dave is not doing this and other people are doing this, is they're learning from the good and the bad that are happening at other competitions around the world.
Dave has said he does not do that. You know
Right.
that, right?
Yeah. And I have contended that he doesn't do that because he doesn't want to be influenced by the programming.
I contend to that as well.
So he wants to maintain the purity of what he views as the next steps in the evolution of competitive fitness for the CrossFit Games season. And I can respect that. However, there's other things that aren't program related that are just about best practices, maybe in structuring online competitions, in judging, in floor layouts, in athlete control protocols, in safety and event management side of things, that there's a lot of mistakes that have been made that he's had the opportunity to learn about and decide whether he wants to integrate, but he has intentionally pushed those aside and said, I don't want to hear about that. We're the best. We know what we're doing. We're the CrossFit Games, and we're going to do it our way. And in the most extreme case, that resulted in an athlete's death.
This started with the Open. I asked you about the Open. And do all of the things you just said also trickle down into that? Is there like possibly the fact that he is avoidant or just doesn't care to learn about more that could be applied to the way the Open could be run? Because there's nothing like the Open, so it's hard for anyone to say how to run it better.
Well, I mean, we have
except for like, the past in which it was run better.
Sure. But we have, Seth Page is on the athlete council right now, and he's basically going out on Instagram and saying, hey, if you have an idea for how to run the season better, we want to hear it.
I filled that out.
And what do so what's he going to do?
Did you fill it out?
Take this information? No, but I called him.
Of course you did.
Yeah, you love the way I operate. Did you leave a comment publicly? No, I messaged him privately. You bastard.
I sent an anonymous survey. That's how no one even knew it was me.
No, but I mean, so let's see. He's seeking out this information. He's collecting things from the community, and are we expecting that there's going to be some kind of positive change that comes out of that? I'm sure also I have had conversations for many, many years about different ways to approach the game season that could still be a huge community event and also be more well suited to the evolution of the professional athlete in competitive fitness.
Okay, that's actually a good relay into the quarterfinal.
Okay.
Which is not that. Right?
No. The reintroduction of the quarterfinals this year, to me...
You know what I mean by that?
I think so.
You said the
I'm about to say
community
it.
and the professional athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it, as did a bunch of other people, I'm sure, and they're like, yes, it's basically weeks 4 and 5 of the Open.
Well, yeah, I mean, people have been saying that since quarterfinals came about.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say that I think that the reintroduction of the quarterfinals for the professional athlete is basically negligence of what it means to be a pro in this sport right now, especially when you couple that with what the semifinal format for competition is this year. Meaning,
I think I know what you mean.
Regardless of if you like it or not, athletes this season that will be at the CrossFit Games have already done 2 to 3 online qualifiers for semifinals prior to February 15th.
Sure.
A lot of them also did the WFP qualifier.
Okay.
Then they did the Open. Then many of them traveled to Miami to do a competition there.
Okay.
And then they did quarterfinals. And guess what? They're sick of it.
What? They're sick of qualifiers?
They're sick of doing the qualifiers, and they're sick of competition, and they haven't been able to do any significant, meaningful training. They're just competing, recovering for 3 months. And they're going to show up at semifinals, and what? We're expecting to have any new athletes qualify for the games? Because the athletes that are going to qualify for the CrossFit Games haven't had to do these things because they're just getting invites, or they're already have a pro card, or they're just better than the rest of the field, and they don't need to worry too much about any of this, and they can show up and know that that group of athletes that could potentially be a challenge to them in a different ecosystem isn't going to be, because they've had to compete just to have the chance to be on that stage rather than train to close the gaps of what's needed to actually overtake one of the already established athletes.
Can I put this into Kale layman terms?
I'm sure a lot of people would love that.
This is without a doubt the absolute worst version of the qualification process for the CrossFit Games that we have ever seen ever. And I don't know if you could make it much worse without just saying we are going to take people directly from the quarterfinals to the CrossFit Games.
And so you have a guy who's sitting in the director of sport position for CrossFit that has introduced in the 20th year the worst version of a qualification that we've ever seen.
Can you tell me of anything that's been close to as bad as this?
And in the meantime, in the midst of all of that, is telling people that the Games is going to be the best one we've ever seen, and you should come.
And he should be the CEO.
And this is justifying what I said to you earlier about him caring more about the Games and not caring about the way that everything else around it has been changing for the last 10 years.
There are people out there that I think Dave would like to hear from that are they cannot believe the way that the season's going down.
What makes you say that he wants to hear from them?
I don't know. Because I probably would.
I'm going to need a name and a number here, Andrew.
Hey, I don't know what you mean. I'll give you those things if you can explain the demands. But what the hell did NorCal mean when they put out the post that said we're accepting 200 people from quarterfinals? Did you see that? Did that make any sense? And what does that mean for the games?
Well, I feel a certain amount of responsibility to try to be aware of what's going on in the competitive space. I don't know what that means either. Okay. Just because of it's where my work is, so I want to be aware of what's happening. Maybe you can give me that answer. What does that mean when they put out an Instagram post that says we're taking 200 people? I can't know. What I was going to say is I can't keep track of what's going on with the game season this year because not only is it incredibly convoluted, complicated, and unclear, it's also continuously changing. I think that Barbell Spin put up how to get to the CrossFit Games. It's probably not accurate anymore if it was put up less than over 2 days ago. So if I go to the Northern California, why can't I find Northern California Classic? Do you know the post I'm talking about by chance at all? I don't think so. Attention, invites are out. If you are an athlete who finished inside the top 200 overall. Oh, I did see this, yeah. Or you participate in the 24 or 25 CrossFit Games, you are invited to the NorCal Classic. How is that possible? Do they have 200 people competing? You saw this? I did see that, yeah. What does that mean? I just ignored it. And so say you're. I saw they updated what's the Bob and Joe special? Bob and Joe Classic, the one that's in California, right next to it, the one that Dallin Pepper's going to try to go win. The Legends. Yes, Bob and Joe special. It's south of San Diego. Sure. In Del Mar. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't do well in U.S. history or geography or whichever class in social studies that was. But what I do well in is statistics and stuff like that. And how does this make any sense for who might be competing there versus here versus Syndicate versus Copassur versus the Annika Greer Destroyer competition? Which one is she going to that she's just going to win because she's a North American who's super fit and she's going to lay waste to all of the foreigners? She thinks that that's going to happen in Copacer.
Okay.
In fact, she's bypassing her WFP Pro Card opportunity to do that,
Okay.
which makes no sense to me. Not because I work for WFP.
I just laid out a little bit of a tirade, including the Annika Greer, you don't make sense upon thing, but what's a worse season than that?
Oh, no, I agree with you. And it's why I see a post like that and I don't bother to spend time
do your
interacting
best
with it.
job to find a way to where it would be better.
There's one thing that I can say
What's
about
better?
this season that you could say is that it will make it a better season, I guess. And that is that you're likely to have a stronger field of 30 at the games this year than you had last year.
So Dave's right.
About
It's going to be the best games ever.
I think he's talking about that because of what he has planned for the athletes at the ranch and that the facilities they're working at is close by his house. You can go there and do a lot of stuff. And maybe there's a little bit more resources available this year because they've offloaded almost everything else during the season. And they know that this is an important year to validate what they were claiming last year, which is that we're back. So I think that he's putting a lot of effort and emphasis into that experience. I don't know that if he's actually conscious or not that this system, which is basically free geography system, so you're not restricted to any place based on where you live. You're only restricted based on the access. So you can't, not everyone had a chance to go to Mayhem. You had to get it.
Invite.
Yeah, you had to get invited there or have been good enough from a previous system.
Which while I
It
love
has nothing to
Mayhem,
do with
Rich
the
and the
games.
whole crew over there, Scott Vandersloot included, I cannot believe that's if we went from regionals to sanctionals to, hey,
To invitationals.
you're good at CrossFit, to invitationals. Come hang out.
Yeah.
Come hang out.
So, obviously, we can just look at the history of the athletes. This is no slight against any of these places. It's just the reality of the performances they've had at the games. Nobody from Africa has had a significant impact at the games. Outside of Roman, who was from the Asian region,
Roman's not African.
I just said Asia.
Oh,
We're moving now to Asia.
okay.
Outside of Roman, who was he was competing in Europe, actually. I don't know if he
Isn't
he did
Africa,
eventually represent in Asia.
massive?
But there hasn't been Asian athletes, especially on the men's side, that have ever pushed into relevancy. Sung-Young Choi and Sarah Kaya had pretty good performances in the low 20s out of a field of 40. That's the best we've seen from any woman from Asia. South America, you can remove Guy, the two-time top 10 games athlete, Guy Mayeros. You know him?
Yeah, he's really good at sprinting and lifting. Those years
And
are
finishing
irrelevant.
top 10 in every competition he's ever competed in. Not every
Is
time
that
he
true?
not every time he lines up, but he's got top 10s at every
We're
place
gonna
he's
need
shown up.
Kayike Cerveni to quit modeling and come back and
Kayike Cerveni's got the life, dude.
he's a model.
man. And no, Callie and Souza is starting to be pretty good, but there haven't been women on par with those guys that have pushed forward. So you mentioned Annika Greer, Miley Wade, Trista Smith are going down to South America, and most likely 2 of those 3 will take the spots from South America, and we'll have no South American women in the field. We have 2 additional North American women. We know that the North American and Europeans are likely going to be occupying a majority of the top spots anyway, if they're occupying a majority of the spots or all of the spots, because there's also Europeans that are traveling to Africa. So we're probably not going to get anyone from Africa this year. There's at least one notable American that's traveling to Australia. So we may not even get the depth of Australian athletes. Justin's
going to Australia.
with Ellie to compete there.
Good for them.
So you may not get the full breadth of the Australian representation. So you're going to have a bigger density of Europe and North America athletes at the games, which dilutes the global representation, which is in alignment with what CrossFit has done through their policies and actions over the last several years anyway. But you might have a stronger games field. And so that's one case I could make if you're asking me to, for this being a quote-unquote better season.
Wow. I don't like that.
I only did it to appease you, not to make you like it.
I don't like that either. but thank you. All right. What's the point of the quarterfinals?
To generate revenue.
Do you think that they would agree with that?
Yeah.
You think that you put Boz at this table who wrote those workouts?
If the cameras were on, I don't know that he would say that, but I think if they were off and he wasn't working for CrossFit anymore, that he would, at least to a certain extent, acknowledge that. Yeah.
How about Dave?
I don't believe anything that he says, so I wouldn't even ask him.
Okay. I agree with you. I don't know if it accomplished that goal. I haven't seen these numbers, but I've heard them through a couple of different channels that there's not as many signups as there were in 24. Is there the
I
same?
feel like Halpin put out there's between 10 and 12,000 total signups, but I'm not sure on a percentage basis. What's that? I used to do tons of analytics on this because I was very curious when they had 10,000. Like, if there's 10,000 people that are signing up, where are they coming from? Are they coming from the top 2%, the next 2%, the next 2, the next 2, the next 2? And it was a pretty even split. And so this is another answer that Dave or Boz could potentially give, depending on their level of awareness of this thing, is that there's a big group of athletes that, and I think this is totally insane, by the way. I'm sorry if these are that's these athletes out here. They're celebrating that they qualified for quarterfinals. And now they're celebrating that they qualified for semifinals by finishing in the top 2,000 and calling themselves a semifinalist.
Why the heck?
Which to me is absolutely insulting to the term. Because it used to mean something for me to say, hey, that athlete actually qualified for semifinals the last 3 years. And now they're at the CrossFit Games. But I know people that made the quarterfinals that did their first ever chest bar pull-up in the open and made the quarterfinals, which, by the way, when they had a level system out, would have ranked as level 10.
This shouldn't be that funny.
No, but this is what we're talking about. It's like people want this sport to get recognized, and this is what's happening. I'm a semifinalist. I said, people, my dreams have come true. I'm so proud of my efforts. 1,300. I'm like 1,300th in quarterfinals. I'm a semifinalist. I've been working towards this for 4 years. Like when you started working towards that, you thought at the best case scenario, you had to be 120th in North America to get in. You just finished 800th and your dreams came true?
In 21, I made semifinals. I think I finished 70 something. I was like 70 in the 70s. And that's where I finished.
Yeah.
In North America, not in the world. I don't know what that means in terms of the rest of it, but regionals back in the day, I remember when they made it, it was like 60.
But dude, it was hard to
It
finish
was 60
70th.
to make regionals, and then they made it like 20, if I recall. And they took the 20s, and it was getting tighter.
Yeah.
And it was, it pushed you. Pushed me.
Yeah,
I got in much better shape as a result of it. I wanted to make it.
The nice thing about the game
And now
season...
it's the other way, and it makes me want to throw up.
No. The nice thing about the game season back in the day, and I said this like within the first couple podcasts I did post 2024 games, is that everybody, like every step along the way meant something. And I could say to someone who knows what we're talking about, this was how this person did in the Open over the last 5 years, in semis over the last 5 years, at the games over the last 5 years. And you could say, like, oh yeah, that's a pretty notable improvement. That athlete is clearly getting better. What am I going to say now? Like, what if I say, oh, that person made semis last year?
Oh,
when we're looking at next
you know what
year.
you're going to say? That person probably didn't stand up their deadlifts all the way.
Sean, did you see that? Yeah, I know you like that post, that comment I made on Scott Panchik's post.
That he's the best moving guy in the history, or people should like hold him to a candle, like, oh, this is the man. This is what we should aspire
I put a
to
comment
be.
there. Actually, it was
Something
kind of
like
funny.
that, right?
I put a comment because I'm watching. You know, I know outside of this podcast, I haven't really talked much about the Open or quarterfinals because I'm just letting it be. You know, I've said what I have to say about it, but I'm watching. And as I watch, I see horrible movement. It's like and there are even people that I know.
I'm the only person you follow.
No, it's not. I barely look at your stuff.
You should send me some
I
more
don't even know
stuff.
if I follow you. I think I
That
have to go onto my
awfully
business
rude.
account. We follow you on the business account.
You got to send me whatever you see then.
These are friends, people that I know, people that I used to train with, whatever, that are posting these videos. And I'm like, you didn't do a single squat below parallel and you're posting this and celebrating it.
What's the level of fitness of these friends?
These are people, how do you even want me to qualify it? They wouldn't even be good enough to make the RX division at Wat Palooa. But they'd be good enough maybe to make intermediate, which is still
like
good.
Garbage, and Scott Vandersloot would be mad at me for addressing it.
It's horrible. I mean, you're posting this, celebrating it, and you haven't done a single squat below parallel, and it's so obvious. I don't even need to slow down the video. You just aren't doing it. And you're the best person in your gym, and your whole community is there watching you, and that's how you're moving. And then I was watching, and I see Scott's video. And I'm like, it was... The thing that stood out for Scott's video is that he was moving better than everyone else I'd been watching.
Everybody.
And
everybody.
And he's been doing that for 15 years.
Yeah.
And why has he been doing it for 15 years?
Because he moves better than everybody.
Yes. So I put a comment there, and I said, if 10,000 people participated in this competition, at least 9,900 of them could benefit from watching the way he moves.
Oh, that's what I said. I said the shorter version.
Yeah, you responded, and you said yes.
Yeah.
Your classic one word.
Yeah.
If you really like it, you might say very good.
Very good. Yeah, very good.
Well, and it was probably the most liked comment that I've ever had. So there's a ton of people that are seeing this and are agreeing with it. But there's way more people that are just neglecting integrity, I guess, to actually try to move well.
Well, you know what? I was listening to the Clydesdale podcast. Did you listen to them on Sunday this week?
No, I like those people, but I never listened to that.
That's messed up.
Why?
You never watch them.
I don't watch much.
I'm messing with you. Jamie Latimer's on that podcast, and
love Jamie.
She went off on something about how the Boys Interrupted, while it's great that they were going live, were a terrible example for the world to see during that weekend, particularly when it comes to their deadlift workout. Because when you see what they're getting, and those scores are not going nowhere when it comes to the leaderboard, because they didn't need that video. No one's watching that video. But I think Bosman said he watches all of it. So I don't know what it's like to be Bosman, knowing he can't do anything about it, watching someone like Justin, or maybe it was James, or maybe it was all of them, because you can't really see. They're not standing up any of their deadlifts. Live for the world to see. And then what are you supposed to do in 2000th place in your home gym? You're supposed to listen to your coach? You saw 2-time CrossFit Games champion doing this with his deadlifts. Like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to bounce this thing off the floor. No one's watching.
I know.
But yeah, it's great. Great.
What's next?
I wanted to know what the point of quarterfinals was. You said it was a money grab. I agree with you. It's legit. That's all it is.
Yeah,
good
well,
job. You made another meal. Here's the thing, dude. No, I tweeted this. I've been tweeting more recently, and I don't think as many people see it. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer on it. Oh yeah, it was semifinals. It's like high five, good for you. I don't like it. Whatever. I'm gonna tweet it. And my thought is, the open was 5 weeks. It was $20 for 5 workouts, where they still didn't look at the videos. Unless you were going to the games or a regional, they watched a video, right? And now it's 20 plus 50 for them to look at even less videos. They're not looking at anything. They're not doing any work. You know how much work it cost me to write 4 workouts that don't matter to anybody? It literally, I could do that right here, right now. I could write you 4 workouts that don't matter for anybody to anybody, and I could do that in 10 minutes. And it could touch upon everything, and it wouldn't be repetitive, and it would
there's 10,000 people that could do that.
Better.
Yes.
And that's what happened. That's what happened. And they charge people $50 to do it. Why? Why did they? It's $70 to get less than what you got for $20 10 years ago.
But this is the thing. Actually, this is not Dave or Boz or anyone in the CrossFit Games team's fault. This is all the people who's signing up for its fault. I watched all season long so far as these people have come out here and said how bad this season is, how this isn't testing fitness, how this is horrible system for athletes, how this is whatever. And you know what these people are doing as well?
Squatting above parallel in the quarterfinals they signed up for.
No, they're paying $20 to be in the open and paying $50 to be in quarterfinals. This is the equivalent of me coming over here and complaining to you every time I see you that I don't like how much I weigh, but never going home and changing my diet. If you don't like it, don't do it. I feel like Chase Ingram. If you like it, sign up for it and just do it. Do it the best that you can. That's all that any of us can do. So that's my message to anyone out there. If you're pissed at the way that the game season is operating, stop participating in it. Because if it sucks every year and everybody keeps doing it, why would they ever change?
Do you think that the majority of people who follow me sign up for the open? Whether it be YouTube, Instagram.
So over 50%, I would say yes.
Interesting.
I would bet it's like 2/3.
Because I want them to sign up. But I also appreciate.
Signing up's not bad. But signing up and complaining about it continuously, I don't have much patience for that.
I think most people are tongue-in-cheek in my comment sections about it. They're not like legitimately pissed. They wish it was better, but they're like, haha. Like a jab in the side. They're like squat lower, you bastard.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely people
there are people out there that hate it.
Yeah, but you have a lot of people in your comment sections that are definitely like, if we were talking to them in person, you would understand the undertone, the sarcasm, the like in jest nature of it.
Right?
Yeah. But in words, it's just words.
No, there are people out there that really, really hate it. And you know what? I kind of really hate a lot of it. I can't sign up.
You did sign up.
I did. They sent me my money back.
You should just keep signing up.
I will. I've signed up multiple years in a row, and they disqualified Oliver Queen, Jar Jar Binks, who are a couple of my other fake names in there. I still have one that they haven't gotten rid of yet, so I'm not going to disclose that name. We talked about the 2,000 people who made semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
You actually brought that up before I did. Could this have not all been accomplished with the Open of 2020? That's kind of what we just talked about with the $70 sign up. I think that the 2020 CrossFit Open was the best test of fitness outside of probably that same CrossFit Games even. I think that whole game season was great. 2020, Friendly Fran, all that stuff.
I know 2020, yeah.
We kind of talked about a lot of my points. We just brought them up in different orders. I wanted to know how you felt about the semifinal structure, the invite process, the quarterfinal potential, and the entirely separate qualifiers that are in relation to those things.
Yeah,
that was just basically
I think
us
that
saying it's the worst qualification process in the history of the sport. Why are they having it? Why do they have the Open? Why do they have quarterfinals? What's the point of the semifinals? It's literally people like putting on events to save face for the entire company at this point.
Yeah, I think the qualifiers thing has become a real issue. Like, and I understand that it's a revenue driver for a lot of competitions and that they can't really see how to make a competition work on the financial side without the qualifier, and that's okay. But I think that the number of weeks of the year that qualifiers are happening is crazy, and that this is a good example of what I would like to see is like some kind of a leadership person or team that comes in, unifies a bunch of these and creates like, a biannual qualifier. So one in January, one in July. That's like everyone can still draw out of that for their competition.
That's the quarterfinals, dude. They have it.
No, that's quarter. How many competitions is quarterfinals qualifying people to?
It should just be a lot of them. You said biannual. Isn't that twice a year?
Yeah, so I'm saying,
why can't it be that plus another one? What do you mean?
Yeah, so you could have 3, whatever. But I'm saying
you
like
could have 2, like you suggested. You
yeah.
Quarterfinals, and then like the quarterfinals, just do 2 of them.
I guess, but I'm not just talking about the
World
game
Fitness quarterfinals.
There you go. Yeah, come together.
All of a sudden, yeah, it's good.
I'm not talking about just the game season. I'm just talking about in general. There's just a crazy, like there's always qualifiers going on.
Yeah, like the World Health Organization. Just like something that everybody agrees upon.
Until they don't.
Until they don't. Shoot. Yeah.
So that's just something I've thought about. And a lot of that is from talking to athletes. Like, it's just like, it feels like I'm constantly doing online qualifiers.
Well, dude,
there was an little glimpse into the possibility of this with the IOQ during the sanctional years, international online qualifiers. 4 competitions that came together from different parts of the world and offered one set of workouts, and you could get onto any of the leaderboards you wanted for $20 per competition.
That vaguely, yeah.
But now you could do this is what I'm suggesting is that you can do one set of qualifiers and sign up for as many of these 50 competitions as you want to, but you only have to do one set of workouts. But every competition,
wouldn't that just be the Open and quarterfinals?
It could be, but that comes back to CrossFit, in my opinion, really missing the boat with CrossFit licensed events.
That's what I thought you were getting at.
Because under that umbrella, that would be a very easy thing to do. And then, if I sign up for quarterfinals, okay, I pay X amount and I'm eligible to qualify for the CrossFit Games semifinal season. But if I also live in the Midwest of the U.S. and Monster Games is coming in the summer and I want to get on the Monster Games leaderboard, I can pay an additional $20, which goes to Monster Games, so they're still collecting revenue, so they're not suffering on the books. But I don't have to do another set of workouts. And then additionally from this, there's the potential, and I'm not entirely sure how it will work, of distributing some of the review process so that you can go a little bit deeper and have a little bit more thorough review because you have 2 qualifiers a year instead of 200.
Bro, when I ran the Open, I watched every single video.
I remember working with you on the Zalos games on the online qualifiers as well, and how thorough you were with that until you gave up on it.
I didn't give up. I was fired. You know why I was fired? Because I didn't think muscle ups counted, and I was overridden. And I was like, F this.
Well,
they don't count. They're not getting my stamp of approval. I'm not signing off on this.
Well,
I had a bunch of other people look at these, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. They don't count.
Yeah,
I'm
we don't
the
need to
head
get
judge.
But I do remember from that experience how thorough you were in watching those. And I think it's pretty obvious that you're watching a lot of videos, a lot more videos than probably anyone else. That's a good Batman noise right there.
What's going on at the Masters? They're competing at the games. That's a good thing, right?
Well,
In
they're
person?
competing nearby.
What do you mean?
I think they're competing in different days and different venues, but it's in San Jose area.
Okay.
Overall,
Similar to how they were at Madison in just like a different area?
I haven't been out there and I'm not sure. I think it might be a totally different venue. But I think in general that the idea of bringing all of those back together makes sense from another very significant factor that I don't think that Dave is very conscious of, which is the limited resources that are the volunteers. Because that's what's really being stretched thin with the number of competitions that we have. And it's one of my biggest concerns when I see something new enter into the market like Xenon that you mentioned earlier, that's wanting to have thousands of athletes. How many volunteers do you need to make this happen? And
probably hundreds.
And how many volunteers are available from the pool that we have when we already know that a lot of them are going to Wat Palooa, a lot of them are doing WFP, a lot of them are doing semifinals, a lot of them are going to the games, and then there's probably a few others in the fall. You know this, volunteers, like, it's a community within our community that's like a lot of them keep showing up and will do 5 to 10 in a year, but they can't do 10 to 20 in a year. People don't have that much time off. In fact, a lot of times they'll get up to about 10 and then they'll back off and only do the 4 or 5 that they really love.
Brian, I don't know if I've been as frustrated with all of this as I've been maybe even since I started making YouTube videos way back when. I'm like very frustrated with a lot of this. Is it the world's slowest house of cards just falling down? Because like usually they just hit. And the reason I say that is because you just brought up the volunteers. And people will hear this and they're going to think that I'm just like, Santa Claus isn't real and neither is the Easter Bunny. And it's the adult version of that. Me talking about this house of cards, theoretical, that is the CrossFit world. Because there's people out there who believe in it, for sure. And it definitely works. And maybe there is an egg out there with $100 in it that you got when you were 3 years old. And it's like, yes, the Easter Bunny. And I'm going to go buy something with it. And I'm 4 years old. But all reality, if you go buy an iPhone from an employee at a store, that person made money. And that person's thrilled to show up at work because they got health and benefits. But these volunteers, like you said, they bounce from place to place. And they're just doing it for what used to be crazy Reebok shoes and a shirt and all that. And they weren't really getting paid from what I understand. Maybe like the top of the top judges, the red shirts, were getting paid to go to the CrossFit games. But like, why do these volunteers do that? And is it sustainable? And is it propping up this house of cards, keeping it from just falling apart?
I mean, to a certain extent, yes. Every competition that I go to, at some point during the competition, and oftentimes multiple times, the organizer will.
It's the power of the community, Brian.
Yeah, they'll always acknowledge volunteers and say, "This wouldn't happen." I experienced it at the
affiliate, and let's have a competition this weekend, and I'd be like, "Okay, we can do this, but I don't know if we have the money." Oh, we'll do it for free, and I'd be like, "Okay." And then my business partner would roll around. He goes, "We can make $5,000 off this thing," and I'd be like, "Or we could just like do it for free." "No, we're going to charge." I'm like, "All right, so how much are we going to pay? How much are we going to pay our like volunteers?" "They're volunteering for free." And I'm like, "So we're going to buy rowers?" He goes, "No, man, you take 3, you take 2, I'll take 3. I'm like, "But you're not going to do anything Like, yeah, man, business. I'm like, and I would just like roll back into the. I'm like, hey guys, we're not having a competition. That's where it come down to. That's real.
I know.
All of it.
Yeah, well, you asked why people do it. I think it's for the friendships, really. Like they want to be involved in something, and they go and they make some friends there, and then that's a way that they can. I mean, this happens. This happens, and they'll go and they'll sign up for the same competitions to volunteer, and that's where they get to see their friends that they haven't seen in 6 months.
There will be people from my affiliate who are going to listen to that, and they're going to lose it. They're going to be dying in the back of their chairs. They're like, "Oh my God, he said it."
Yeah,
they do it for their friendships, huh?
Yeah, I think so. And sometimes some of them really like to travel, so they'll like make a destination out of it.
A vacation, a workcation.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that'll go to a comp and then stay 2 days later with that group of friends. Take a couple of days off work to do it, but they're spending a few $1,000s every time they do it. Most of them.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah. That was my. I mean, that was
House of Cards.
This was my biggest concern many times over when new things enter the market is about the volunteers.
WFP pays volunteers?
I don't think anyone pays volunteers, but it's just a matter of.
I did for the Open. I think they get
$150
bucks a piece.
Then they aren't volunteering.
Which wasn't crazy, but I also got him a case of C4, if I recall. It's pretty good going by like what I hear other competitions give out.
Yeah.
Oh, and a T-shirt. An Open T-shirt. It's pink. I had him on a schedule.
Damn, if I had known that these were the perks, I might have signed up.
If I recall, they didn't have to watch any more than 40 videos. There's a hard cap until they had to work overtime.
What'd they get for the overtime?
No one had to work overtime. It's called systems.
But yeah, if you're, competitions need to be conscious of that. There's a lot of competitions that are like barely making it at the volunteer level, and sometimes even recruiting people on site to help fill some of those roles.
My favorite thing always used to be, if you care so much, why don't you volunteer as a judge?
You've had a chance to do that, and you won't do it, though.
Which one?
I think Granite Games invited you a couple times.
No. I was always competing there.
No,
They were gone.
Come on.
Granite Games? The last time they had one, isn't that the one Phil Toon tested positive at?
Yeah.
I know I didn't get an invite to judge at that one.
I would have to disagree.
Who was running that competition?
I don't know, but
I would strongly disagree. I'm like almost nearly 100% sure on that. I'm not that on nothing.
Okay, we'll leave it at that then.
I'm going to need some written evidence, and I'll probably poop my pants as a result of it being anything other than what I thought it was.
Maybe I'll see if I can track it down. But I don't want to ignore what you said about the House of Cards, because originally when you said those words, I laughed a little bit, but then I immediately got a little more somber about that, because that would be a really sad and bad thing, I think, for the global community of people. If CrossFit as a company was to implode on itself because of its own mistakes, because of what it has to offer.
I'm not sure that they've been making mistakes.
You're not sure if they've been making mistakes?
I don't think that they've been doing more.
But, well, I would say that that's a mistake. Like just getting complacent in general is a very easy thing to do, but it often comes with a high cost.
I don't think that anybody can look at it and say that it's better. You know what's better? The fitness of the athletes is far superior to what it was 10 years ago, and 8 years ago, and 6 years ago, and 4 years ago. Go back to every 2 years, the field of people is far fitter, but the thing itself is worse. Nobody can say any iteration has been better than the one previous to it. Everyone has been worse. And Dave's claiming it's going to be the best.
Yeah, but that's what he has to do.
I hate that it's you in front of me, because I think that you just agree with that in general. But maybe it's just correct.
Well, you did. I mean, I think you said every iteration was worse than the previous one, and I don't think that was always the case.
Which one? Or like, when was the last time that stopped? You think 25 is better than 24?
That's not the best example to use.
It's an example of like recency.
Well,
but
I would say yes, it was definitely better because no one died.
Yeah, but I think
that's not a good example.
Let's remove the death from it, and I'm thinking
You can't. That's not a good example.
I am, and
choose any other year.
And I can say Fort Worth, the setup, the lead up, the structure of the competition previous to everyone having been gotten there, like all that stuff, the stuff that we've been talking about, right?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, but it was worse than 23, worse than 22, and I think that kind of all started in like 19.
It was getting better up through 18. Everything changed.
You know what I'm saying about
in
all
2019.
that,
Yeah, in recent years, there's been, I would say, progressively worse versions of the CrossFit Games season. Yes, post 2018. Yes,
and every year leading to 2018 was better.
Yeah,
and this year already can't possibly be better, regardless of what Dave wants to say about the game specifically.
as an entirety for a season, I would agree with that. The games in isolation, I hope, is better than last year.
Based off the programming and the onslaught of bikes and machines and running and pegboard. Right?
Yep.
I didn't know if there was something else you were referring to. I didn't want to assume.
Well, I mean, I also do think that in general, it's going to be probably on the men's and women's sides collectively the most competitive podium races that we've maybe ever seen in terms of the top 3 spots being relatively unknown on both sides. So the competition itself, just based on the landscape of athletes, the depth of the field, should be very compelling. If you also factor in an elevated program for all the reasons that you mentioned, yeah, this year's CrossFit Games, not this whole season, games should definitely be better than last year.
I didn't like that there were 10 events either.
That's weird to me that there was only 10. I mean, I feel like...
Was there only 3 days? Was there a 4th day?
Last year?
Yeah.
I didn't watch, but I think there were 3. Dave was experimenting over time, I think, with like what's the total volume that he's willing to push it to, and I think 15 was the maximum number of workouts that he programmed, like 15, 16, 2015, 2016, and then he regressed back from there into like the 12, 13 range. I felt like that was the sweet spot, like 12 to 13 workouts over the course of 4 days, and I feel like with the caliber of athlete we have now, anything short of that is not. You're running the risk of, especially with the payout system that they have, you're running the risk of letting other factors dictate the overall results with some serious financial implications on the line.
You said payout right there, and we're about to get into semifinals. And while we were upstairs previous to coming down, you said something about payout, and you wouldn't tell me what you were going to tell me until we got here. Do you remember what that was?
Of course.
I thought you were going to say no, and I was like, damn. All right, well, what was it?
Oh, they just announced the payout for Mayhem.
Uh-huh.
First place gets
10 or 12?
12,000. Nice.
Okay.
So I was curious if you knew what that equates to at the CrossFit Games. What place you have to finish to earn $12,000 at the games this year?
6th. Higher?
Lower.
8th.
Lower.
10th.
Yes.
I didn't know if you couldn't tell.
It was interesting because I think I can't remember if I asked you this or someone else, but I recently asked, like, what's more impressive, winning a semifinal or placing 10th at the games? But this year, with Mayhem and the games payouts, they're equivalent, at least in terms of financial meaning.
They're not equivalent.
Both win 12,000.
Oh, you mean 10th versus first?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think you have to place at the first tour stop for WFP to earn $12,000?
Ooh. Now you're really testing what I don't know and my ability to guess correctly. I'm going to say it's the first tour stop. Winner gets 30, right?
35 this year.
That changed from last year? It was 30 last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
I'm going to say that you have to place 10th.
5th.
Damn. All right,
So
so
it's just-
what are you
it's
trying to
interesting.
say?
No,
That
just
doesn't make any sense.
it's just interesting to look.
It's just as
like,
impressive to finish 5th as it is 10th as it is first.
I don't know. I would contend, actually, of those 3, that winning Mayhem Classic might be the hardest. 5 workouts in a pretty competitive field. So there's not a lot of room for error.
I would say it's certainly going to be harder to win Mayhem. I don't know. Then 10th at the games. Who had 10th last year? Colton? Ibarra? Tudor? Someone like right there was 10th at the games last year.
Yeah, I think maybe it's Tudor or Colton. But, you got to field of 20, you have to field of 30. With WFP, you have to field of 50, and you got to finish 5th. That's pretty tough also.
Depends on how many swimming workouts Will wants to rate.
At the first tour stop in London?
Who knows? You never know with that guy.
I think we're taking the channel to France for the swimming workout.
The channel?
The underground tunnel.
Choo-choo tunnel train? You bring out the Liver King?
Liver King.
Did he listen to my idea on that one? Like bring him out of retirement and get that guy over there, have him do the Barbarian? No,
Can't
not
say.
this time.
Can't say one way or the other on that.
So what was your whole idea on that? Like what's more impressive? What's my thought on it in general?
No, I just found it.
I don't think that any of the athletes could give 3 flying Fs about how much money they're not or winning at the events they're going to anymore.
That is what I'm actually most curious about, because it has to be true.
Which part?
Not all, that
because
that
people
the
like
athletes
Annika
at the
are
top
going
don't
away
care.
from somewhere like WFP with the sustainability of the money. Is that like what you think is insane about her not going there and going to Copacer instead?
Yeah, she's 22. You did the whole season last
Remember when
year
you were
to earn this
22?
contract. Well, who's advising her? Think about the guys
Max El Haj.
think about the guys in the top 10 in the world that are all competing to try to win the games this year. Also knowing after last year that a bad lane draw on a workout or a bad call from a judge or one missed decision in the workout, the margins are that small, could be the difference between 310,000 and
75,000?
26,000 if you finish 5th, 62,000 for second. And
Damn,
then
it was that much?
310 to 62. That's the difference this year with the open signups that we've had.
What do you think happens if...
Wait.
Sorry.
Because if they're not caring about the money that the competition is paying them, where are they getting money from?
Tier?
Sponsors. But the sponsors also have incentives that are highly tied to what? Your finish at the games, your
Dave
placement
Castro's
at the games,
position
qualifying
as
to the games.
CEO.
Maybe.
Games.
And so now you're talking about a very competitive field of men who are all competing for one prize purse. And the difference between being in this lane or this judge or that judge, not even anything to do with your fitness, based on recent years that we've seen evidence of, could be $1 million versus $100,000 total in your pocket when you factor in prize money. And you want to put your whole career on the line for that?
$1 million versus 100,000?
If you have 4 sponsors that are each going to pay you 50% of whatever you earn if you win the CrossFit Games, then you get to $1 million.
Hold up, homie. I don't know if they're really looking at placings.
You think that make the games, you get an incentive bonus? Yeah.
Yes.
But if you place top 10, if you place top 3, if you
like
win.
Salary.
Okay.
Like,
Oh, no. There have been contracts in the past.
didn't you know
that
Gorilla's giving me $200,000 a year to have this can sit right here?
I know. And you've had the wrong side of the label showing the whole time, and I've had the right side.
Yeah, but that's that camera.
Okay.
So imagine what they're getting. They're probably getting $1 million from Rain each.
Oh, but regardless of if they even show up
Yes.
and compete.
That's why they can easily say it's like WFP, Schmee.
Well, that might be the reality, is that they're making so much money from partnerships that it doesn't matter to them what they win in competition. That could be true.
That's what I really think it is. So like when you
Have you had any athlete to actually tell you that?
which part that they're not going because
That
they
I'm-
make so much money they don't care?
Yeah.
Word for word? I don't think
most of
anybody would say
Most
that.
of what I am hearing, which makes total sense to me, is that the big sponsors in our space have incentives that are tied to the CrossFit Games season.
Well, that I have heard.
And that makes sense because the CrossFit Games season, whether it's good or bad, has been around for a long time. It was the first. It has the staying power. It has the prestige and the notoriety.
And also the contracts were probably written before WFP was existent.
In many cases, yes. But in some cases, no. We've had several athletes sign big contracts more recently. I think James just announced with GoWad today, in the last 15 months.
James is a GoWad guy now.
Yes, it
Good
was
for
a
him.
very interesting little video he made with the boys at the quarterfinals. You can go watch it later.
Was he wearing lingerie or something?
No, they were all doing a circle of frog stretch together.
Okay. I'm happy people are finally jumping on James.
Yeah, but
He
James
was going
is
to
one
war
of
for
those.
himself at a point in time, I think.
Well, yeah,
which is
because he
ridiculous 'cause he's-
achieved something that even his sponsors didn't think he could do when he won in 24. And so, well, I'm serious.
I know you are. One sponsor in particular, yeah.
You can just see that he had some sponsors that he was working with, and after that happened, he didn't work with those sponsors. So what do you think happened? This is what I think. There was an incentive tied to not just making the CrossFit Games, not just for being on their roster, but to winning it, which he did. And they probably couldn't pay it because they never thought he would win it. And then they had to make a decision, take out a loan and pay this guy, or say, I'm sorry, man, we'll go bankrupt if we don't. So I think that's probably what happened. And I think that there's other athletes who have sponsors that have incentives that are tied to not just showing up to the games, but actually winning it. And if those sponsors, there are sponsors historically in our sport that would match dollar for dollar what you earn at certain competitions for certain athletes.
So you think that's like as high as it goes? You think something like Fraser with Nike is a match, or do you think
I think it was.
More? Yeah.
And if you have a couple sponsors like that, that's when the 300,000 becomes $1 million. And all those guys are competing for that one spot because getting second is irrelevant. Jay Crouch finished second at the games this year. That's incredible. He'll win $60,000. Him and Maddie Sturt won $60,000 combined for finishing fifth at the games, 6th, 11th at Rogue. So they're putting a lot of money, a lot of emphasis on just that one spot. And they're all going for it. While James is over here racking up money at Wat Palooa, racking up money at WFP, signing new sponsorships, and potentially working some deals with his new sponsors into those other competitions. Just seems like he's being smarter than most of the other athletes. That's why I ask, who's advising these people?
Do you have an answer to that, or is that rhetorical?
It's hard to say because it could be family, right? You might have a dad who's great with whatever and you trust him, or a mom. You could have a coach that you really trust, an agent you really
they shouldn't
trust.
be listening to their parents.
A mentor you really trust. No, I'm saying that I don't know who that person is for these athletes. A lot of them have a lot of people that care about them.
Well, if you were them, what would you do?
If I was who?
The athletes. You're assuming that some of them are doing something wrong, right? Or you're saying they are.
With the access to information that I have, it appears that way. But I don't have all the
just around money standpoint?
From a financial standpoint. There are definitely other things to consider, like wear and tear on the body. But if you're Jay Crouch and you finish 5th and 6th at the Games and Rogue, like that's an incredible season. But he passed up more money by not going to WFP finals than he won for finishing both of those competitions in a great position. So there's got to be something else in these athletes' minds that I don't know about. Or, like you said, the money's not what's important to them.
I think it's a lot of that.
But you can't also be here saying, we want to be professional athletes. What is a professional athlete?
I don't think any of them have an answer to that, dude.
I don't know, but you do.
What?
A pro athlete is an athlete who gets paid to show up and compete.
And that's it. I'm a professional YouTuber.
Yeah, if you don't make videos, you don't get money.
Sure.
Sometimes you make videos and you still don't make a lot of money.
Also, sure. Yeah. Every time I talk about peptides, YouTube doesn't like that very much. But it gets a lot of views because no one else will touch them because they don't make any money on it. You told me that you already know who's going to make the CrossFit Games.
Everywhere other than NorCal, because I think the field, because there's no one knows who's competing there.
All 200 people are competing there. Didn't we just say that?
Well, I don't know what's going on over there at all. But outside of that one, I feel pretty confident on the athletes that are going to make it, yeah. I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises this year.
Is Bill Leahy making it?
Where's he competing?
NorCal.
Then he's got a chance, yeah. He'll only chance to qualify is NorCal or online. That's it. And I don't think he'll make it online.
Online is what? How dare you?
What do you mean?
Just because of how he moves or what?
I don't think it's the best path for him.
I have something very fun to tell you about Bill after this.
Okay.
I can't tell you on. I can't tell you anything on.
Okay.
But I think you're going to lose your mind when I tell you what's happening after.
My gorilla mind?
Your actual mind. Like you're not even going to be Brian Friend anymore. What's Mayhem Classic known for?
Mayhem Classic is known for treating the athletes really well.
That's what they're known for. Isn't that what Rogue's known for?
What were you thinking I was going to say?
If I were to have just asked you that, what I would have thought you would have said would have been couplets, triplets, classic CrossFit, high gymnastics, stuff that maybe you have seen Froning excelling in the past, maybe even resemblant of some of the Instagram posts that they've been putting up recently.
I like
that's
the stuff
that's
they've been doing
that's
recently.
kind of where I was hoping you would go, but like you're not wrong with what you said either.
I thought you were expecting me to say squatting.
Well, no. The assault bike is a squatting movement, right? Is that what you were thinking?
That was pretty fun last year, right?
The assault bike is a squat. I'm trying to find your list. I'm sorry for being on my phone at the moment.
Which one?
Your rankings list.
Oh, yeah. I have it here.
But so that's what they're known for. And I clearly said what I think that they're known for. What do you think of the fact that Hopper won the games last year but didn't qualify out of Mayhem last year? Does that mean anything to you at all?
Yes and no. When it comes to Jason Hopper in particular, outside of of the games, he wasn't really able to win anything. But he was the best that weekend. Jason's, if you put 5 workouts out there, like there's a chance he's not qualifying this time also. Depends on what the workouts are. The field is good enough and diverse enough that there are guys that can beat him in a certain design of test. But when you start putting 10 to 15 workouts in a competition, he's better than most of those guys, and he'll filter to the top 5 at worst. So more workouts
so it's not
is better
a test
for
of
him.
fitness then?
It's a different test of fitness.
I'm not sure I like that very much.
I mean,
Is the High Rocks race a different test of fitness?
Yeah, yes.
No, it's an endurance race.
Okay, I guess it depends how you define fitness.
The test of fitness, a different test of fitness, a race. What is the Mayhem Classic considered amongst those terms? A triathlon is a race.
I'm not sure what you're asking. It's a competition.
A wrestling event is
a
tournament.
Yeah, it's a qualifying
bracketed.
competition. But there's no parameters around those qualifying competitions.
And if the fittest man on earth doesn't qualify out of a test of fitness, it's not a test of fitness.
No, because the field has an opportunity to evolve and improve. And so does the competition. I don't
really know what I expect for you to say out of this, but I know that I haven't liked a single thing you said. And I haven't come to an answer myself either. Shall we ask the audience? What is the Mayhem Classic? I don't know.
You expecting your dogs to respond?
Hey, dude. I mean, you had Abby Domit and Fee both also qualify out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Who took third for the women last year? Do you remember? Wasn't it Emily Rolfe?
I think it was, but I'm not 100% sure.
Who had finished second the year previous at the games?
Third, I think.
Third. She was up there. But then she finishes third at the Mayhem Classic. I just don't know what this means in terms of like what you think of when it comes to Mayhem. Like, you got Colton and Austin, you've got Abby and Fee, and they're fit, but they're not the fittest.
I got a message from Rich when I was at Miami that said, "Can't wait for you to see the workouts this year." So we've seen one of them. I'm excited to see the rest. Let's see.
I like that first one. I think I like it more than I liked any of the ones last year, honestly. I didn't really like the workouts all that much last year.
I did like the first one with the running and the squats and the burpee get-overs.
I know they had the Kale Lehman final. I know they had Isabel. Yeah, that workout's going to go down in history. The Kale Lehman final. That's going to be the most remembered event in the history of that year. Seriously, name one other semifinal event outside of the 30-30-30 bar muscle up workout and the one you already mentioned and Isabel. Can you name a single other one?
From all of semifinals?
Yes. Good luck.
Yeah, but,
Okay. Is it an example of biased programming at Mayhem, or is it an example of biased programming at the games? Should Jason have won the games last year? Or should Austin and Colton have finished above him the way that they did at Mayhem? Same thing goes for Emily Rolfe in relation to Abby and Fee. Which one's more biased?
Well, we've already said about an hour ago that they're all biased, obviously.
Sure. Well done.
But I would say that the less number of workouts is going to be more biased. And I do think that I would have liked to have seen 2 more workouts at the games last year, especially on the men's side with how close it was, just to give that nice little well-roundedness and opportunity for a little bit more separation late in the weekend. Because the other thing, when you say is Hyrox a test of fitness, the reason that I would actually agree and say it's not is because you don't test enough variety of the ability to recover and repeat an effort. You do have to go back and forth from the stations, but you never have to totally cool down and reset. You never have to go home, go to sleep, wake up the next day, and perform again. And we know throughout the history of the CrossFit game is that the best athletes perform better as the weekend progresses. I love it when it's a Wednesday to Sunday competition, and you can really see come Saturday, Sunday who's actually prepared and who's actually fit. And then the leaderboard starts to take shape. And I would say that in general on those years, and specifically I'm talking about 2015 to 2018, when you had field of 40, a uniform qualifying path and no cuts, and at least 4 days of competition, I would say that those are the closest that we've ever gotten to actually see a hierarchy of who's the best, second best, 10th best, 20th best, and worst of those athletes at the games. But we've drifted way far away from that.
There used to be something really cool about that, what you just said.
That's when I fell in love with it, because you knew that everyone there had qualified via a predictable path that they were preparing for. There weren't a ton of distractions, and that they were all preparing the whole summer for that competition.
You said that to me numerous times.
Yeah, because it was the best. It was incredible. And of course, some people would get injured in the run-up, and you can't do anything about it. Some people would get injured at the games, and you can't do anything about it. But everyone was doing their best to be their best for that weekend. And you got to see a slugfest. You got to see them actually, the best of the best, battle it out over a tough competition.
I have this crazy thought that's completely adjacent to all of it. Maybe we'll remember, we'll do it at the end. But relative to what we're talking about right now, Fraser wins, Froning wins, Teo wins, Briggs wins, Camille wins, Teo wins. They all win, right? Then you've got whomever finishes second, Lucas Hochberg.
Third.
Whatever. That's Ricky Garrard, Patrick Vellner, whoever finishes wherever they finish. And then somewhere down the leaderboard, you've got Brian Friend, 18,000th. And because you knew like how, years? And because, is that about right?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay. And then the coolest thing about all of it, which is why this makes me, and if anybody's got to this point after making it through the tirade of how frustrated I am with the way it's been or is because you at 18,000th and you saw how important it was for the top 40. You saw what it looked like at the semifinal, or sorry, which would have been the regional back then. Like, you actually really felt like you were the 18,000th fittest person on earth. And you thought that would have meant something if there weren't just 400,000 people, but if there were 1 million people. Like, and sure, maybe you're 30,000th all of a sudden because there's more people doing it, but you were 30,000th on the. If you're the 1 million, if you're the least fit person who signed up for the Open, you freaking do it, and that was cool.
Yeah,
that's what I thought was cool.
No, it was, and
now, dude, you could be 18,000th or 8,000th, depending on how you put your fucking tie-breaking time in for their goddamn muscle-up workout.
No, now I feel like I could potentially just be 800th.
You could be at the semifinals without ever doing a freaking workout.
I never do a workout. I could just pay $70. Put some scores
off the gym owner and be like, shh, I'm going to NorCal.
Yeah.
It actually really makes me angry. It's the sort of stuff that would keep me up. Like, I'd have someone in my affiliate who'd just do something crazy, and I'd call them out on it because I'd have cameras in the gym, and I'm like, I see what you say you thought you did, and you didn't do it. My camera's telling me you didn't do it. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Like, no, not sorry. That person's going to a semifinal.
You and I are far more similar on this than I think you even know.
No. I know we're similar on this.
But I've just kind of, when it comes to the game season at this point, like, I've said all of this 6 years ago. There's people that said it all 6 years before me, and there's people that said it 6 years before that. So it's not like, what's the point of continuing to talk about it?
I understand that. Let's move on.
Okay.
I understand the moving on part of it. I do. But do you want to do the events that you think they're going to choose, or do you want to do your picks?
We'll only do one?
We're going to do both, but which one do you want to do first? I figure when we do the picks, we're going to fly through the picks. So maybe we should do the picks of the events first. Like which events you think they're going to choose and why.
Okay.
Because I think that's just going to be a fun practice.
Okay. I'll
Like,
send you these so you can put them up on the screen when we're
Sweet.
talking about it, but I didn't want to tell you them ahead of time.
Okay.
So when they posted the 77 workouts as options,
Sorry. Erica Folo's video has sound on it. 1 second. What does this say? Marched through a bit of a curveball, and I had to step away for a few weeks to get my health right. It wasn't the plan, but I'm finally back in the gym, and it feels good to be moving again.
okay, let me move her from 19th to 20th.
You sent me, what did you send me?
I haven't sent you these, but I can send it to you right now so you can see what I'm talking about. There you go. No, Mayhem posted 77 potential workouts, and
Correct.
before they have announced one since then, and Barbell Spin's done this whole X's and O's thing about it. But before that, I picked out 5 workouts from that list that I thought would have been a pretty cool opportunity for a competition.
Okay, so you did that before the X's and O's.
Before they announced the what is it called, the midline.
So you picked 5 workouts, it looks like, right? 6.
I picked 5.
Oh, you picked 5, okay. They did 5 last year.
Yeah.
Event 1, you picked Ruck or Redo.
Yeah. I'm just a huge fan of making sure that people who get to the CrossFit Games can run, and weighted running is perfectly fine with me for that. You can test it in combination with other things. I would rather see it tested in isolation at the semifinal level and in combination at the games level.
So this is more of a what you like to be tested rather than a what you think that they will do.
Yeah, this is like what I would do if I was designing a semifinal test. And in this case, we saw that they have 77 options. So of those, I'm picking these, and I'm giving you my mindset if I were going to be programming a semifinal. And
I
obviously
agree
could
with
only
that,
pick
and I like that
workouts.
for a first event quite a bit. Where do they do this? Do they do this like around Rich's Pond or something, or does that matter?
Well, I was gonna say earlier they're doing a really cool series with Rich right now where they do like some throwbacks to some stuff that they've done in the past, and he tells a little bit of backstory on it. And one of the ones that they talk about is the original ruck run that they did when they invited a bunch of athletes there. I think maybe Chris Hinshaw did a seminar with those, and he talks about the diligence that his team went through to go and track the course and mark the course and make sure it was safe and spray paint every rock and all this stuff.
Measured it with their wheel 3 times.
Well, you know.
I really like the second one. Here's the deal. I think I'm going to like each of these workouts as I look at them. This Dirty 30s workout, 30 sandbag squat, 30 ring muscle up, 30 sandbag squat, 30 bar muscle up, 30 sandbag squat. I mean, that's just Colton and Austin Hatfield. That's why I asked if the programming is biased, because I look at that and they're going to win that.
Yeah, but look at the ruck redo, and that's where you see Roman and Jason going to the front. And then you look at a guy like Jeff Adler, who's not going to beat either of those. He might actually probably win the ruck run, and he'd probably be third on the other one because he's just
right.
the blend between those two body types and skill sets.
Adler gets smashed by a sandbag or by a 30-pound ruck.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I think he's fine.
Hinge City, 9 round, 18 GHD setup, 9 deadlift to 315. Are you sure they can handle that? I mean, that's a lot of deadlifts. They only did 10 in the quarterfinals. You sure that's
They need to be able to if they're going to go to the CrossFit
Brian, that's
Games.
81 deadlifts.
Yep.
You can't just throw this at this level of athlete. They're not prepared.
No, these ones have been invited, dude.
So they didn't even. No, they did have to do it. They said to finish in the top 2,000.
Mm-hmm. But those are the 3 I would have on Saturday. Start with an off-site run. I even put a time frame in there. Be done with all of that before noon. Have a little lunch opportunity. Do something on site for people who have showed up for the weekend. Have competition start again at 3. Go through the Dirty 30s and then finish out with Hinge City. And I think that's a nice first day of competition. You should be done by 6 p.m.
I like how you're even taking that into account. It's like you've been setting up events all week.
Coming to Sunday, and now I'm looking for some stuff that maybe wasn't tested on the first day of competition.
200 double under, 100 wall ball, 25 parallel handstand push up.
Yeah, so you get
That makes sense.
a lot of
more
shoulder.
squatting. Is that the end of the squatting?
That's the end of the squatting.
Okay, good job.
But it's also the really demand on the shoulders, which is what you're going to see a lot of on day 2. So first day is a lot more about the legs and posterior chain. You get the squatting first, then you get the posterior with the Hinge City, and now you get the shoulders. And it continues into the last workout. which I really like this last workout.
100-foot handstand walk, 15 snatch, 185, 100-foot handstand walk, 15 clean and jerk, 225, 100-foot handstand walk.
Plus, it's called Finale, so there was no chance I wasn't putting it as the last workout.
There's a good chance that's actually the final workout.
I would love that to be the final workout. Not only is it a very cool workout, it's a good blend of skill and strength and volume that these athletes can handle. It also should look pretty cool on the floor, and I think will produce a fairly competitive outcome amongst the athletes that are actually contending to go to the games.
There is a 0 chance that Colton does not win this competition with these workouts you just fed me.
I disagree with that.
The ruck run might take him out of it altogether. Would you say that is the case or what?
Maybe, because what we saw last year at the Mayhem Classic was a pretty close battle between him and Austin. The thing about Colton and Austin is when Colton's winning a workout by 2 minutes, well, Austin's just finishing second. And it doesn't matter that Colton beats him by 2 minutes. But Austin's going to take probably 4th place or better on the run, and Colton will be lucky to finish within 6 or 8 spots of that. So he's already giving away points that are very hard for him to make up, even on the workouts that he's winning, and even if he's winning by a substantial margin. So the number of athletes in the field and their specific skill sets relative to Colton's strengths is what matters against a guy like that. But I don't think Austin's even the biggest problem. I think that Jeff Adler's a problem for all these guys.
I mean, yeah, Jeff's a beast.
Jeff is a beast.
I don't know what I was going to try to say about Jeff.
Do you know what place he took in the Open?
First, second, third, top 3.
Quarterfinals?
That one he took first.
Third.
I'm just going to say.
So just with no...
Who won the quarterfinal?
I don't even know. I just know that he got third and third.
Ooh. The dude with a nice beard from Australia who doesn't live in Australia anymore. That's the one. Yes.
He is living in Australia.
Huh. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. Sometimes they'll come to Proven and hang out for a month before a big competition.
He's kind of like the new Saxon Panchik.
Jay Crouch is incredible. Yeah.
He's the new Saxon Panchik because he has no chest.
No, come on. He's got a little chest. He's got a chest.
He does have a little chest.
He's a smaller athlete. He's fine. He's fine.
With a little chest.
No.
You don't need a chest to be good at CrossFit.
I'd kill to have his chest.
I mean...
Thanks.
Anyway.
So those are the ones I would pick. I think it would be a good competition.
So now when you make your picks, are you doing it based upon the workouts you think are potentially there? I think it kind of makes sense either way. Like whether or not you think these are the workouts, they'll look something like this. Because I look at it and I don't see anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, I mean, I picked a Hinge City there. They had a workout at Midline Century, which is clearly attacking the core. That's their workout 4. That was my workout 3. So you can see a parallel there. I think they've already pretty much advertised that they're doing the ruck redo with some of the teasers they've put out. And the other ones just kind of, you just kind of fill them in. I wanted something that was, going to be pushing the weightlifting a little bit with the snatch and the clean and jerk. I think you got to have proficiency with a moderate to heavy load on a barbell for reps if you want to go to the games. The skill is there between the ring and bar muscle up to parallel handstand push-up and the handstand walking. You get a little bit of squatting volume, a little bit of shoulder volume. 20% of the whole workout is running, which about 20% of the test of the games is running. So
or more, depending on the year. Before we get into the picks, I touched a little bit on the quarterfinals and how prepared or unprepared. And this competition's irrelevant because it's a invitation. But I'm thinking like Syndicate. They're using quarterfinals people to get there. And JR is not going to post some slapdick competition. Do you think there's going to be people who go there and they're just going to completely look out of sorts?
Were there last year?
Or the quarterfinal? Wait, how did they get people?
I'm just curious if the Syndicate field last year. I mean,
not that I recall. I don't think anyone looked completely out of sorts last year. But I also don't remember there being the same qualification process.
A bit tough for JR and for the people who have to program later in the semifinal season because you don't necessarily know what the caliber of field you're programming for is. But you just have to eliminate that from your programming and say, I'm not programming for the field.
I'm really not asking that question. I'm asking if there's going to be someone out there that gets thrown under like 315 clean and just gets smashed because they didn't have to go over 135.
But this has always happened.
No, not like this.
Bobby Noyce.
It's like the Matrix.
What about Bobby Noyce?
What about him? He's a beast.
He's 7th in the games in 2014. Couldn't do a single strict handstand push-up at regionals in AVP.
That's totally fine.
Okay, so then what's wrong with this?
I guess I'm specifically talking weightlifting. Maybe time domains. Like if you really want to
Yes,
talk
I think
about
there
it.
will be people at semifinals
There was that
clearly
massive
don't
blonde
belong in
dude who threw up
semifinals.
on the 333s into the machine. You know that dude? He looked like an obese man. Like, how did you get here?
Okay, that was
So sure,
2018.
it's always been happening.
Yeah, and it'll happen again, yes.
Let's say JR throws in like 405 deadlifts.
Okay.
No one picks that bar up. 315 clean.
That's not true. That no one will pick it
275
up.
snatch. Those are just like numbers you should be able to hit.
Those are, I would say,
405 deadlift happened 2016 with the run of the GHC sit-up.
yeah, and it happened at the games 3 years before that.
Sure. Okay. I think that you're just saying yes.
No, but I think that there will be big disparities from the top athletes that are contending for the game spots and the bottom athletes that really shouldn't be in the semifinal field at some of the semifinals, yes.
You got Jeff Adler winning this thing.
Yeah. I think that Jeff Adler is only going to compete at the Mayhem Classic, the CrossFit Games, and the Rogue Invitational this year, and I think that he'll win a minimum of one of those and finish in the top 3 at all of those competitions.
I don't know if that's that bold of a claim. You're saying it like it's some outlandish thing. I think he's just going to win all 3 of them. 4 of them.
He could win all 3. And the thing about Jeff that we know is when he
No, because James is going to win. Is James here?
no.
That's so dumb. Why is James not here?
Well, it is an interesting question actually because I thought that James was skipping Mayhem Classic because it was probably going to be the least number of workouts against the most competitive field, and it was before Tour Stop 1 of WFP, which it's in his interest to do well there.
Defending champion.
Yeah, and I thought that he would just go to NorCal, where he could probably very easily at that point in the semifinal season take one of the top 2 spots and have his kind of season laid out. I mean, he should
Not
be
with Bill Leahy there.
There's 2 spots, so he could still
Okay.
lose to Bill.
Yeah, he could lose to Bill.
He's never going to lose to Bill, dude.
Carry on. Why is he not a Mayhem?
Sure, you don't want to tell me
Why
that
is he
thing
not a
about Bill?
Mayhem?
Well, originally that's what I thought. But then he signed up for Legends, which is actually a week closer to WFP Tour Stop 1, and they have 2 spots instead of 3. So he must be feeling really confident in that field. But they've announced Dallin, Justin, Tudor, and Roman. Now, Roman probably won't go because he's competing here and the week after in London. But that's a lot. That's 5 really good athletes for only 2 spots. So James is betting on himself at a different competition.
He's trying to Michael Jordan these guys. He's setting himself up for the long run. Like, he's just whipping that dick around and destroying everybody wherever he wants. And pretty soon, they're not going to be able to touch him. Like Tia. Tia does that to the women. They talk about her like she's untouchable. That'll be James pretty soon.
This year, the only person that I think can beat James is Jeff at the games.
I think that depends on the workouts.
Wait, I mean, yeah, but I'm saying regardless of what the workouts are, I don't think there's anyone else that can beat him. But if the workouts fall right and the momentum falls right, I think Jeff can.
Jeff's fit. He's just soft. But he's fit.
He's proven that he can win. He's won semis. He's won the games. He's won Rogue.
Wouldn't have won the games if the Russian were not broken.
We don't know that.
Oh, I know.
But he was strong enough that year. What's opposite of soft? Tough enough, strong
Hard.
enough, durable enough.
Rock solid.
He was hard enough.
Yeah. You got Hopper finishing second.
Yeah, I like Jason in this competition. I feel like he's pretty eager to compete after taking a lot of time off, and I feel like I like his if the programming is a little bit more favorable to Austin and Colton, I like his ability to compete in those better than Roman, for example. So I feel like I feel pretty good about his chances of qualifying here. The next 3 was really tough, and I'm not really sure.
Roman, Colton, Austin.
Yeah.
3,
And
4,
I mean,
5.
dude, I switched this between Colton and Roman in the 3 spot a million times, but I was like, I'm just going to guess.
They've got 3 spots?
They have 3. I'm going to guess, without having seen the rest of the programming, that even if Rich hated everything I said about that last year, that he can't ignore it, and that the programming is going to be a little bit less beneficial for
That's crazy.
than Colton than it was last year. And outside of that competition, Colton doesn't beat Roman in competitions. So I'm betting on Roman.
That's a great point. But it is mayhem.
It is mayhem. So let's see. But nobody, we started the podcast by talking about it.
He will hate that if it's like, well, that's mayhem, and Colton wins mayhem, so you know how that goes.
I mean, then it's just the live version of the Open then.
Oh, damn. CrossFit Mayhem is the live version of the Open. Rich used to win the Open and the games. So maybe Colton is just the next iteration of Rich.
Okay. Well,
Froning and Colton are the same person. So here's the deal. Do you want to talk any more about those three? Roman, Colton, Austin? Roman's actually going to show up here, right?
Roman will definitely be at this one. Austin will definitely be there. Because
he's not going to show up at everything he signed up for.
He can't. No, there's no way. That's insane.
But he will be here. Okay. You got Jack Rosemo way too high. You got Nick Matthew way too high. And you got Victor Hoffer like way too high. Why are these guys here? None of these guys belong here.
What? What do you...
Rosema, Nick, and Hoffer.
Yeah.
Hoffer hasn't competed in forever outside of like a couple of online competitions where he's made all of his money.
This is perfect competition for
Nick
Victor
Matthew
Hoffer.
can't even do Randy Unbroken. And Jack Rosema has been deployed for the past 10 years.
Okay. If anyone's listening, none of those are true. But
one of those is true. Nick Matthew cannot do Randy Unbroken.
No, I think these guys are better than average in this field.
Whereas Victor Hoffer competed. He did WFP2 and broke his back or something trying to snatch.
Yeah. I mean, I've spoken to some people in Europe that have been training with him. It seems like he's healthy. It's only 5 workouts. That's good for him.
So which part isn't true? The deployment one? That's one thing. You said none.
Yeah, well, there's elements of truth in all of it. Let's just...
Okay.
But I feel good about these guys in the top 10, and I would throw Chris Ibarra in that mix also.
That's why, yeah. Chris Ibarra deserves to be above all of them.
Well, I mean, he hasn't really outperformed those guys. It's been pretty similar.
Didn't he get 11th at the games last year? Which outperforms all of them last year.
Okay, if that's the competition that you want to choose in isolation, then yes. But in other competitions, they've gotten the better of him at times. No, I think Jack Rosema is easy to kind of not appreciate how good he is overall.
I appreciate
he doesn't do a ton of competitions. He is primarily doing the team competition this year, but I think that he's been training in Mayhem. I think he's in pretty good shape. I think he's got a pretty good balance in his life right now. And I feel like he's going to surprise people in terms of his performance here.
Last time I heard balance, it was Ben Bergeron talking about his athletes, and they all finished like dead last at the CrossFit Games.
Oh, no. He said that you shouldn't have any balance. You have to give that up to be the best in the world.
I never heard Bergeron say that.
We'll go back in 2016 when he was working with Castro.
I'm having really crazy flashbacks to when I was sitting here, and it was like 1 a.m, and John was here, or you were here, and John was there. Because I'm sitting here looking at Quinn and Mason and Connor Volts.
Well, Connor...
And I'm like, these guys are wicked low. I know the field's stout.
No.
I'm also thinking, Brian hates Crash. These guys...
What? That's totally not true.
Quinn Robinson in 10th. He's kind of been on a rampage. He finished 2nd. You had Sam DeMeester, the guy who finished 3rd at Crash. Below Slapdick Alex Vigneault, who hasn't done anything since 2017.
Vigneault was... I had him last in this competition last year, and he surprised me. And actually...
What did he get, 11th?
Yeah, he did a lot better than I thought he would do. It would be easy to just put him last again.
The only one you have in the right spot is Tiago. It's like if you inverted it and based how good they looked, he'd be at the top and Adler would be last.
Okay. Connor Volts, I mean, look, I had him picked 4th or I think 5th at Wat Palooa. He couldn't compete because he was injured, so I'm not sure where his health is at. So I just put him down
for Connor.
Here. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it is a pretty competitive field, and if you're not at 100%, you're going to get exposed. And
how about Saxon, who just finished 7th in the quarterfinal? Like, it really doesn't mean anything, right? The quarterfinal.
Well, I mean, we've always known what Saxon's good at, and the quarterfinals tested a lot. Him and his brother both.
They were like 7, 8, 6, 7. I don't remember.
I think they were 4, 5 or 5, 6. But they haven't shown the capacity over the last really 5 years to finish in the top half of competitive, like really competitive fields, which I consider this to be. So I think that there will be things here, whether it's a long run, a heavy barbell, that will preclude Saxon from making it into the top half of this field.
I started to assort my own personal list, but something about like copy and pasting and forgetting and having multiple Romans in different spots really got me frustrated. And I decided to just skip it and just like ad-lib this thing.
Okay.
I believe you've got Mason Griffith far too high in 12th. I can't believe you have him over Saxon Panchik. That's astounding to me. Sam Demeester, I think, has shown quite a bit recently that he's much fitter than where you got him in 18th. I really do believe, I'm not just spitballing, 6, 7, 8 are wicked compared to where you've got Chris Ibarra.
In 9. In 9. Okay.
Put him up, shift them down.
Okay.
Seth Stovall, I wanted to give you props. He's finally where he deserves to be.
Okay.
In the bottom quarter of this entire deal. Why is he there?
I think he's in the bottom quarter of the athletes in terms of overall fitness.
What's wrong with him?
I mean, nothing's really wrong with him. I think he's just, unlike a lot of these guys, he's working like full-time jobs. I mean,
have you ever seen the movie Warrior?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
That's a movie.
So what? It's based on a true story. Tom Hardy actually did all that stuff. Or the guy who...
And he wasn't good enough to beat the guy with the full-time job.
Exactly.
So...
That's what I'm saying.
No, I understand what you're saying. It's like my favorite movie.
It's a good movie. What's Seth doing?
I would recommend Seth
What's
watching
wrong with
that movie before competing, and maybe he can move up in the rankings.
I used to watch that before wrestling matches.
I watched it before every college soccer game I played.
Yeah.
See, we're like the
Seth
same guy, dude.
Probably learn from the people talking about what he's actually going to be doing. All right, any more on the men, or should we talk about chicks?
Let's talk about the girls.
Lucy Campbell. There was a time where I refused to put her on like a podium.
Now you probably refuse to put her off the podium.
Yeah, she's just like gonna win. She's a beast.
I'm not 100% sure she's gonna win, but I think that she's the favorite to win.
No, she'll probably win. Why wouldn't she win?
I'm really curious to see.
What about Mayhem would take someone like her out? She's great.
Just that I think Emma Lawson's as good as her, with the potential to be better than she was last year. So I think Emma Lawson's the wild card there. And I don't know if we're going to see the top version of Emma at Mayhem or if it's going to wait till the games. But if you don't think that Emma Lawson can beat Lucy in competition at some point this year, you should rethink that because she has the capacity to.
Yeah, but you're all about like, I haven't seen it.
But we did see it. We saw Emma Lawson
she
at
was
Rogue.
like 14.
No. We saw her at Rogue and we saw her at WFP Finals, the last two competitions of last year when she was finally back to trusting her body.
Would she finish?
In the top. She was one spot away from Lucy at both.
Really? Oh. Touche. I didn't know that.
And they tied on points for the WFP season, even though Emma was not able to do some of the heavy lifting in the early parts of the season. She didn't do the game season last year, and she's not doing WFP this year. But she and Lucy are competing at Mayhem and also at the games. And I would put money down that Emma beats Lucy at one of those two competitions, if not both.
Emma's what, 22, 23?
I think she's 21 or 2.
Dude.
Yeah.
Lucy's 30?
Yeah. But I'm like, I think that the fitness we'll see from Emma and Lucy this year is going to be very similar, very competitive, and very fun to watch. And we'll get our first glimpse of it here.
That's cool. Paige, home cooking. Is that why she's in third?
I was debating between her, Olivia, and Gabby for the 3 spot here. And yes, I do think being at home. I also think that Paige
she knows the workouts.
I think she has just some kind of mental tough. I don't know what that is.
Nandrolone.
What is that?
It's a steroid.
Oh, okay.
That the women get after having given birth. And I told everybody that Paige is going to win, if not 2, 3 CrossFit games before she's done. Starting next year.
You have said that before. I think she's just incredibly mentally tough. I think she's really good and well-rounded.
When you combine that with...
Nandrolone.
Yes, sir.
What I saw from her at the 26.3 team version throwdown that they did in CrossFit Miami Beach on Sunday night when they needed to make... And that field was stacked. And that was a tough workout. And, like, it was hot in there. It was not a great environment. And she beat all the girls. And that was, like... Basically, it was kind of like you were doing the Rogue workouts online.
She did. She smashed all the girls.
Never finished with her head through. Is that what you're saying? Hey, man. Because you couldn't really keep track of where you were compared to anyone else, so you just had to go. And I just viewed her as tougher in a moment where it would be easy to be soft. And I don't think she's soft. So I gave her a little edge over Olivia, who, is coming off of that weird thing with her leg and what was it that she had?
Steph.
And Gabby, Steph. And Gabby, who's just coming back for the first time and as an individual competing. So, yeah, I like Paige as a chance to make the games here.
The women's field is way more interesting than the men's. I mean, they're both like very interesting.
Well, I think,
as I looked at the top, the men, I don't know. Like maybe it's just the fact that they've all been there every single time, and they're not really all that much fun anymore. Like the same names every time.
I think you got some pretty intriguing
you got
athletes.
The freaking winner from last year in 7th.
Yeah, I know.
Or did he win? They were 1-2.
I think it was Abigail, but
it was close.
Yeah, and I feel good about that pick actually, and I actually feel like that'd be a good finish for her here.
Or offensive. She won last year.
Yeah, but
you think Abby looks at this and she's like, "Yeah, good pick, Brian."
Abby never likes my picks. I feel so bad. I really like her and Otton. They're good people.
And we skipped over a couple. Like Olivia finishes 3rd at the games last year, which you already hated Chris Ibarra and threw him underneath other people he beat at the games. You hold no weight to the games, I really can't argue 1, 2, 3, 4. Gabby wild card. I get it. Makes sense. Lucy,
I mean, she looked pretty good in Miami, but that was in a team.
I think Lucy McGonigal is like 3rd.
Lucy McGonigal is definitely an athlete that could turn some heads this year. She's like got a lot of, she has a lot of the DNA that you'd like to see from an athlete who's going to excel in this sport.
Not just that, but she hangs out over with those proven people. She's like a freak.
Lucy McGonigal is very good. So
we jumped right to Abby, who's also a freak.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the French one right underneath her.
Yeah, Claudia, it's
you surprised
easy.
you knew she was French?
I'm happy you knew she was French.
Okay.
She was French, yeah. No, Claudia's very good. She's had some podium finishes at a few competitions internationally and made her name on the semifinal level last year or 2 years ago. She's gaining experience on the biggest stages, and she's I think she's going to be in the top half of this field, but not threatening for a top 3.
We got some crazy names, and oh my God. Kyra just won the quarterfinal.
And Saxon finished he finished 5th. That doesn't translate to this.
I think that Adrian Bosman would disagree, and I would disagree with him and agree with you. So we'll move on to 10. Emily Rolfe. Finished 3rd last year. You know what? She's been all busted.
I think it was the last competition that she did where she was like 100% healthy.
Games?
No, Mayhem. And then she's been
there.
managing. Even she might have hurt herself at Mayhem. I'm not sure if it was there or if it was at the first tour stop for WFP, but she's been managing that injury. She's like 37 years old and she's still competing.
She is not 37.
Yeah, she is.
She is 34.
No.
She is 33.
No.
She is 33.
She's not.
We're going to have to fact check that. She is not 37.
If she's not 37 yet, she'll be 37 this year.
No, she's 33.
Emily Rolfe.
Yeah.
No, she's not.
Has Barclay uploaded Apollo anytime recently?
Apollo's gone.
Gone?
Check it.
What do you mean gone?
Go look.
I understand what you're telling me and I believe you, but tell me what you mean. Like, why is he gone? Was the website
he's engaged
cost
now?
Huh?
He's engaged now.
So he deleted the website?
The website's still there, but the data's not.
Why would he delete the data?
Oh, he stopped updating it last August. So
he deleted it?
It's no longer accurate. So he probably just hid it all in case.
That is the most autistic thing I've ever heard. It's no good. That's what I do.
It's a big effort.
I call that rage
for a
quitting.
long time.
I did it at Wat Palooa. I rage quit.
I know. I was really sad we didn't get to hang out.
I'm also allergic to water, so I didn't miss out on much. I can't believe he just deleted it.
Fran Lung is gone too.
Fran Lung Analytics.
Yep.
Damn. Another one bites the dust. Maddie Fouts. Everyone thinks she's going to do some stuff this year. So same thing with Reese Littlewood. Dang, this competition's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun athletes here. I mean, I would throw Lexi Neely in the mix with Reese and Maddie as like athletes that are very good, and they can like, there's no competition that they'll be at that I would say, oh, they don't belong at that competition. They could be at a games, they could be at a Rogue, they could be at WFP finals, and like they'd be fine there, but they haven't taken the next step yet. And even Maddie's probably a step below those two, or maybe Lexi's a step ahead of those two. But either way, they're athletes that I'm looking to take the next step to prove that they're in the top 20 in the world, because they're not quite yet.
Do you know Maddie Fouts is a teacher?
Is she a teacher? Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she is. Would you change your pick here if you knew how many unbroken rear muscle ups she could do, and if I told you it was over 40?
No, I know Maddie. I've seen her compete a few times, and I think this is a good spot relative to where her fitness is at right now.
And her number of muscle ups doesn't matter to you.
No, I mean, no.
What's going on with a Haley Adams at 13?
I don't know, man. Like,
Is she washed up? Is she 37?
years old?
Yeah.
Or worldwide ranking?
Either. She might be 37 worldwide ranking.
I don't remember where I had her ranked, but I don't know. I mean, a part of me is hopeful that she'll come back, like she's kind of advertising that she's planning to do, and be great again, but I don't know. I don't see it. So I just have her here for now. She hasn't.
Looks lean.
Okay.
She's like a lean, mean fighting machine.
Sometimes too lean is not a good thing in this sport.
I don't know. We'll see, I suppose.
Maybe she can tap back into what she was 4 years ago, but I haven't seen it recently, so I'm not going to give her credit for it with the picks yet.
I can't argue with anything I've seen on your women's side like I could on the men's side. I got none of those like shift him there, her, wherever here. You got Caitlin Bernardin, Manon Agnes, Eddie Canio. She probably won't like it very much down there. Liz Wishart in 18th, like that is crazy. Erica Folo in 19th. You just moved her down to 20th after you saw her Instagram post. Olivia that's almost my middle name. Not quite though. What is she, German? Who is this person, Olivia in 20th?
I mean, she
Tell
was
me
recently,
3 facts about Olivia.
She competed at semifinals last year. She got a recent backfill into Mayhem. She's probably not going to do great there.
Those are 3 terrible facts about Olivia. That's the best thing you got?
Yeah, I mean, she's just making her mark at some of these competitions. I don't think that this is an example of an athlete that wouldn't have made a regionals yet or wouldn't have made a semifinals yet in other systems. Because of the systems we have, she gets an opportunity to be in some of these fields, but it's not the type of athlete that's going to actually be competing to make it to the next stage.
You think people would just come here to compete for funsies?
Yeah, definitely, especially at Mayhem. I think that these international athletes that are accepting invites here are probably like, dude, I grew up watching Rich Froning. CrossFit Mayhem is like the mecca. That's the one place I want to go. And I got a chance to go there, and not just go there, but to compete against Hopper and Colton and Roman. And like, I don't care how good I do. I'm not passing this up. This is a great opportunity.
You think that's what Kale Lehman did, although he knew he was going to get dead last on every event?
I abstain from conversations about Kale Lehman.
No, of course. All right. You and Dave have that in common. Okay. I think we've said our piece on these sides, right? You didn't do these at all having thought about Midline Madness or whatever the workout's called, right?
No. These are before.
March, midline
I had seen that they'd
sadness.
advertised probably some kind of run in the woods, but I hadn't even seen the 77 workouts they put out when I made these picks.
Got it. Okay. 2
And
weeks
they're-
from now. When are we recording this? What is today?
Even though I hadn't seen those,
Today's Monday the 6th.
they'll be
So a lot
better.
can change.
They'll be better than John's picks.
Huh. Are you guys going to do that?
He didn't want to because he's like, if we do one semifinal, we'll have to do them all. I disagreed with that because this is, in my opinion, a very unique semifinal. But he wants to, reserve it for the big ones. So we won't actually start our competition till the games.
I like that you guys are chatty Cathys.
Yeah. You're going to host us back here for that one?
Yeah.
Big show prior
We're
to the
gonna have
games?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to have to. You got anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this thing up?
No, that was way too long, man.
Is that right? I don't know when we started.
I think you should split it into 2
monitor
shows.
shut down, so I'm just hoping the whole thing recorded.
Oh, Jesus.
No, it definitely recorded. I've been checking it.
This should be a 2-part episode.
Why?
Put out the first hour and then put out the second hour.
I could.
More views. More views, dude. That's what we're all about.
You're speaking my language.
Clip that, too.
I
for the
had
teaser.
more views. More views. I had something I wanted to talk about, but I don't remember what it was.
WFP probably.
You want to talk about the WFP at all? What's happening with WFP?
Getting close to starting their tour. Full
When
roster's
does
been
that
announced.
start?
May 1st in London.
Which part of London? Is London like its own thing? Kind of like Downers
No.
Grove?
No. There's definitely parts of it. I don't know what the region's called, but it's at Drum Sheds.
Drum Sheds.
Or Drum Shed. Yeah, that's the building.
Is that the name of the building? Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like the U.S. Cellular Field.
Yeah, something like that.
Drum Shed. Okay. Okay, I got nothing else.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.